It's 900 hours Central Africa time on this Wednesday, the 6th of January 2016. It's a brand new year. This is Newsroom, SABC News on Channel 404, Jumbo Africa, and a very warm welcome to the first hour. I'm Elvis Preston. I'll be with you until 12 o'clock. You have to stay with us as we broadcast live from our Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg, South Africa, to the rest of the African continent. As you know, we're also streaming live on YouTube, with the entire show available on our YouTube channel. Our question for the day, we focus on the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, who released the 2015 Matric results last night, which shows a drop to 70.7%. And we are asking you, what do you make of the latest drop in the 2015 Matric results? I want to know from you. Let us know on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom and on our Facebook page. The questions today, of course, let us know what's on your mind, and we'll read your comments as we continue. But first, let's take a look now at your news headlines. For the celebration time as the class of 2015 ponders its way forward. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga said the focus this year, 2016, is on the three worst performing provinces. And ANC Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has been campaigning for the party in the Northwest Province ahead of the party's 104th anniversary celebrations in Rustenburg this weekend. But right now, before we get to our top stories, let's find out what's happening on the sports front with Lebo Angdube. A very good morning to you, Lebo.
Good morning, Elvis, and thank you very much. We'll now take a look at some of the sports stories making headlines. The Proteas will hope that their sterling performance on day 4 will inspire the bowlers on day 5 against England at Leeds. And FIFA ethics watchdog has recommended a 9-year ban for its Secretary General Jerome Falk over alleged corruption involving the sale of World Cup tickets. I'll have more on these and other sports stories later in the program. It's back to Elvis on the main desk.
Thank you, Lebo. You will be back later, but right now let's take a look at your top story. The clock ticked, anticipation mounted. Finally, the results are out, and many Matric pupils are pinning their hopes on tertiary education. But too often, it's a dream deferred.
The stakes are high, and it's nervous moments for the matriculants. Among them, Siyabonga Dlamini, flipping through a few pages just before euphoria erupts.
I actually saw 7 distinctions. I only lost out on English only, so I got a distinction in mathematics, physical sciences, geography, life sciences, life orientation, and all of them.
Siyabonga's fellow matriculants shared the excitement.
I'm overwhelmed about my marks and I'm over the moon. I'm just happy.
All I'm ready for is the world right now. I want to explore the world and earn my millions.
I got a bachelor's degree and a distinction in history. I never thought I'd get a distinction.
A sigh of relief for teachers.
Screams, excitement, happiness, seeing my kids happy, seeing my kids all sorted out because they had hassles for the whole year, sleepless nights, no weekends, no holidays. It paid out.
And then later, a hero's welcome for Siyabonga, and his unemployed mother embraced the moment.
It's going to bring progress and a big change in our lives. He will be an example to the community and his siblings as well.
Top achiever at his school, Siyabonga hopes to rescue his struggling family from poverty.
I know through my hard work and perseverance in order to conquer in life, I know that I'm going to take them to a next level in life.
From humbling beginnings to 7 distinctions, and the excitement will last for weeks. Marikana, SABC News, Deep Blue in Soweto.
I can tell you the party is on. But Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says the department will focus this year on the 3 worst performing provinces. She was speaking after announcing that the 2050 matric pass rate has dropped by 5% to 70.7%. The best performing province is again the Western Cape, with the Eastern Cape yet again lagging behind, right at the bottom.
The numbers are in and the scores have been tallied. And this is how the class of 2015 fared.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 NSC overall results pass stands with all learners progress and non-progress. It says 70.7%, down from 75.9. That represents, in numbers, 455,825 learners who have passed in 2015. So in terms of numbers, we've won the number game for 2015. Because this is the largest number of learners who have passed in the history of this country.
The number of those meeting the minimum requirements for university has also increased from 150,737 in 2014 to 166,263. Maths and science remain problematic subjects. There was an increase in the number of passes, but a drop in percentage. In mathematics, 129,481 pupils passed in 2015, just over 8,000 more than 2014. Science increased by just under 10,000. The number of distinctions up by 3,711. Provincially, the Eastern Cape attained 56.8%, a drop from 65.4% in 2014. More than 162,000 candidates sat in KwaZulu-Natal, achieving a 60.7 pass rate, a 9% drop. More than 34,000 bachelor passes came from this province. Limpopo came in at 65.9%. Northern Cape candidates achieved a 69.4% pass rate, a drop from 76.4%. Mpumalanga showed a slight drop with 78.6%. The following provinces achieved above 80%. Northwest with 81.5%, Free State with 81.6%, Gauteng came in at 84.2%. 38,760 of its 108,442 candidates attained bachelor passes, the highest in the country. The Western Cape was the only province with an increased pass rate. Its 53,000 candidates achieved 84.7%, up by 2.5% in 2014. Mahlaku Komane, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Now, just a reminder of that number that we're going to put on the screen for you for the Second Chance program, a very important one. That Second Chance program, the telephone number is 0800 202 973. That is the number to dial if you have failed and there's a second chance for you. It's not time to give up yet. There's still time to get to that number, 0800 202 973. If you've missed it, we'll give it to you throughout the program, so please stay tuned right here. There's also a question that we posed to you today, a very important one. Of course, the matric results is out. There's a drop of almost 5%, and we're asking you, what do you make of the latest drop in the 2050 matric results? You can send us your views at SABC Newsroom. That is the Twitter handle there. Also utilize the Facebook page and let us know what's on your mind. We'll read those comments in a short while. I wonder if we do have them up. If there is some comments already, we can put them up now so you can actually see what some people are thinking about it. And the question then, of course, so here's some of the comments that we have already. This one from Luvu Yolwetu says, to those who didn't pass, there's a second chance program, so go out and use it. Might just be what you need. Hashtag matric results. That is what Luvu Yolwetu says on the Twitter page. Caroline Ndlovu says, I'm a proud teacher. Hashtag matric results. Congrats to all my learners. That is wonderful that we have some teachers like that. Peter Rousseau says, considering the change in education methods the economy, general and South Africa issues. 70% pass rate is damn good. Hashtag Matric results 2015. That's Peter Rousseau. Bakani Brighton says, let's also support those who didn't make it, he says, at hashtag Matric results. So you can do the same and let us know what's on your mind. Checho Tsotsocha says, I'm grateful the hard work, sweat and determination. It's a bachelor. Is that a bachelor for you, Tsecho? I'd like to know the class of 2015. Sandra Dixon says, Matric results, how about putting us as much focus on these learners after grade 12? What are their results at universities and colleges? That's a questionnaire from Sandra Dixon. So you can let us know also what's on your mind and let us know what you make of the latest Matric results. Let's move on now. The ANC Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, has been campaigning for the party in the Northwest Province ahead of the ANC's 104th anniversary celebrations in Rustenburg this weekend. The Deputy President visited Potchefstroom, whereby elections for the Tlokwe local municipality will be held next month.
Tlokwe local municipality in the northwest, hotly contested by the ANC, independent candidates and opposition parties. The ANC's deputy president took the fight to other political contenders.
Tlokwe is ANC territory. We're going to win these elections. They are by-elections. We're going to win to make sure that Tlokwe is retained by the African National Congress. It's a given. It's a foregone conclusion. Tlokwe will remain ANC.
The visit was also about talking and responding to the needs of communities.
The council must build her a house. She's 68 years old and she's been on the list for many years.
I am very happy and excited. I don't even know what to do. Since this morning, I've been praying that God should help me by getting a house so that if I die, I should at least have a shelter.
Tlokwe independents have called for political tolerance.
We are tolerant to the ANC's presence in Potch, in our wards, in our own yards, in our own houses. They are more than welcome to come and talk to people, as we would also expect them to welcome our campaigns as they will be rolling out.
Ramaphosa is mobilizing communities to attend the ANC's January 8th celebrations in Rustenburg this coming Saturday. Tsolofelo Matibedi, SABC News, Potchefstroom.
Now let's take a look at the tweet pick of the day, and that comes from Sarge Sadiq, and this one is captured passion. Congratulations to Themba Bavuma, Captain Themba Bavuma, on becoming the first black African to score a Test 100 for South Africa. And what a Test 100 it was. Absolutely fantastic. Themba, he's making headlines. Let's get back to our top story today. Now, yesterday, the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga, announced that last year's pass rate was 70.7%, down by 5 percentage points from 75.8 the previous year. Exam monitoring body Malusi last week said that the Matric class of 2015 had performed worse in the national senior certificate exams than the 2040 matriculants. They were proved right. The higher number of progress pupils contributed to the poor 2015 Matric results. However, the Basic Education Department says in actual numbers, almost 52,000 more learners passed in 2015. That's compared to 2014. Now, joining us in studio is Lucky Ditunywana, who is Umalusi's Senior Public Relations and Communications Manager. A very good morning to you, Lucky, and welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Elvis, and compliments of the new year to you and to the viewers.
Compliments to you too. Now, Mr. Ditunywana, as Umalusi, are you happy with the results of the Matric of the class of 2015?
Well, first of all, we cannot be happy with the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is that the results have dropped. Unfortunately. However, we are of course happy with how the examinations were first of all managed by the Department of Basic Education, and secondly the entire assessment regime of the Department of Basic Education. And that is why we announced on the 30th of December that as Umalusi we were happy with how the examinations went. We were also happy with the fact that the examinations were fair, they were credible, and in our view as Umalusi, they were valid as well. And basically, we, in that particular statement, also made it clear that according to us as Umalusi, the examination actually did not have any systemic irregularities that one could talk about, and therefore we were happy with how everything went.
Even though there were some leaks?
Even though there were some leaks, but however, we must also try to contextualize the leaks. That first of all, the leaks only occurred mainly in one of the districts in Limpopo, which is the Vambe district. And the leaks basically affected two papers in particular, that is Life Sciences Paper 1 and Life Sciences Paper 2. Of course, the leaks also spilled over to some extent to both Gauteng and Mpumalanga. However, the spread of the leaks was very limited in that sense. And so, in our own determination as Umalusi, we, after reading the situation and after, of course, analyzing the evidence that was coming through, we decided that the leaks did not constitute what we call systemic irregularities. Yes.
Now, there were some reports that suggested that this year's exams were, or the exam papers were of a higher standard. So, in your view, were the teachers and the pupils prepared for the exams for 2015?
Another thing that perhaps one needs to make clear is that this was the second cohort to write the exams under the new curriculum, which is popularly known as CAPS. Now, obviously, the process of getting everybody to get used to the standards of the new curriculum, the new assessment standards as well, is going to be a process. So one would like to believe, however, that in terms of the standard of question papers that were set for last year's examination, the standards are now beginning to align with what the expectations are within the prescripts of the new curriculum. And so we are fairly happy with the cognitive level and the cognitive standard of the papers that learners wrote last year. And as Umalusi, we are saying that when it comes to standards and when it comes to quality, really we cannot drop the ball there. So it's very important that basically then we focus on improving the standards every year, so that then learners who write the examinations can write examinations of a very high quality.
So in a sense, the results for you as Umalusi was expected, that there was going to be a drop.
Yeah, but I also need to clarify that. In terms of our processes as Umalusi, we conduct what we call standardization of results. And in that particular process, we focus mainly on the subjects and the performance of learners in those subjects. So the picture that we see at that stage is a picture where we can say, in terms of performance in the subjects, we can see a decline in the performance. And then secondly, another thing that I need to emphasize is that the subjects that we look at do not include school-based assessment, which constitutes 25% of the overall performance of learners in each subject. So we are only focusing on 75%. So basically, even at that point, you can see the trends, but you still do not have the full picture where you can say the pass percentage will be this or that.
Now, progress learners accounted for 3.5% of the increase in the 2015 Matric failure rate. Why is this practice allowed, and what is your take as Umalusi on this particular practice?
Well, obviously the Department of Basic Education is the one that actually developed a policy around that, and that policy was in fact formalized in 2013. Now, as Umalusi, we appreciate what the Department of Basic Education as an assessment body is trying to achieve. Because what used to happen is that there was, in fact, in grades 10 and 11, a congestion of learners in those two grades. And some of them, as a result of that, dropped out of school. So, you know, in the spirit of trying to create access to grade 12, and in the spirit of trying to also get rid of that bottleneck in those two subjects, in those two grades, it became very clear that something had to be done. And what we can say from ourselves as Umalus is that, look, we are very supportive of the initiatives, and we will do anything from our side as a quality assurance body to make sure that we work with the department to make a success of this initiative.
But isn't that perhaps a recipe for disaster in order where you propel learners which is not prepared for the outside world or even higher learning for that matter?
Well, I could say that, but the evidence that came through last year in 2015 says something to the contrary. And basically what we are seeing now is that some of the learners, in fact, who were part of the Progress group have done very well. In fact, 1/3 of them passed, over 10,000 of them passed with bachelors, which tells me that even that group of Progress learners, we must actually try to understand it. Because the fact that some of them might have repeated a grade in the FET phase or band does not necessarily mean that they cannot achieve. So it's very important. In fact, the issue of access is also a social justice issue, which broadly speaking the system must address.
Yeah. Is that social justice issue you're talking about affect the worst performing provinces in the country as well?
Well, the worst performing provinces, that being KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, as well as Limpopo. One also has to look at those particular provinces with a particular perspective and understanding. And one of them is that all of them share one thing in common. They are rural provinces to a large extent, and then they are also high enrollment provinces, which means that the bulk of the learners in the country come from those provinces. And unfortunately, given our situation in South Africa, rural still means poor. And rural also means lack of resources. So basically then it becomes an issue of social justice if you look at it that way.
Lucky Ditwana, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, Elvis.
That was Lucky Ditwana, who is the Umalusi's Senior Public Relations and Communications Manager, giving us their take on the latest Matric results. Now, the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, has launched the National Senior Certificate Retention Program, also known as the Second Chance Program, after announcing results the previous night. Now, the numbers on your screen following the announcement of the results of the class of 2015 last night. Here is that number, 0800 202. It's on your screen right now, 973. 0800 202 973. If you do have a child, a relative, or anybody that you know that has failed, there's a second chance. It's not time to give up yet. That number there on your screen, 0800 202 973. Second chance program for all those matriculants who did not make it. There's about 5% of them that dropped to 70.7%. Right now, let's take a look at what's happening around the country today. MECs across all provinces are expected to release the results of the matrics in the following areas. And let's start off in Johannesburg. The MEC of Education, Panyaza Lesufi, will announce the results later this morning. Then in Polokwane, the MEC of Education in Limpopo, Ismail Khechepe, will release their provincial statistics at the Ranch. Then in Port Elizabeth, the MEC of Education, Mandla Makupula, will release results in East London. In Maikeng, the Northwest, the Education MEC, Wendy Matsamela, will make her announcement. And in Kimberley, the big hole there, the Acting Education MEC, Martha Bartlett, will also make an official announcement. Those are all the results where it's going to be announced in the provinces. Now let's take a look at the front pages from the newspapers around the globe. And we start off in Europe. The Times report that President Obama wept openly last night as he promised to use his final year in office to curb America's epidemic of gun violence. It's about time, Mr. President. Moving to New York, the International New York Times also leads with that story as tears stream down his face. President Barack Obama yesterday condemned the gun violence that has reached across the United States and vowed to curb the bloodshed with or without Congress. Now that's a strong standpoint. Finally, in China, the South China Morning Post reports that North Korea announced today it has successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, generally much more powerful than an atomic fusion bomb, which, if confirmed, would mark a stunning step forward in its nuclear development. Now, just a reminder, that number again on your screen, the Second Chance program, as Minister of Education Angie Motshekga has launched the National Senior Certificate Retention Program, also known as the Second Chance program, after announcing the results last night. Here is that number, 0800 202 973. If you have failed, it's not the end of the world. There's a second chance for you, all students around the country. Right now, let's take a break, and we'll be right back after that.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have been banned.
It didn't happen to me on that day because I was already in jail when it happened.
I was scared that when I get back to Joburg, I was going to be arrested. Well, I wasn't. Who are you asking? You're looking at me?
Yes, Zubaydah, I'm talking to you.
So the old fuddy-duddies like Dennis and me will remain there.
I just want to say, Joe, that the thing about... Damn, go on, and it's coming back to me.
So much more than just the Legal and Rights show. Join Dumile Mateza every Sunday at 2 p.m. only on the SABC News channel.
Welcome back. The Free State has been one of the top performing provinces regarding Matric results. For 2015, the province obtained third position with 81.6%. Over 35,000 matriculants sat for the final year exam in the Free State. Minister Angie Motshekga announced the results in Midrand last night, north of Johannesburg. Now, for the latest on the class of 2015, SABC's Palesa Moeti is on standby in Bloemfontein, and she's with the Premier of the Free State, where the top performers are being honoured. Palesa, very good morning to you and welcome. And can you just give us a background first, what is happening there?
Very good morning. We are at the Central University of Technology, just outside the Boot Trotsky Hall. This is where the top 100 matriculants of the Free State will be receiving the recognition. They'll be awarded bursaries. Automatically, when you're among the top 100, you receive a bursary from the Free State government. Now, that function is expected to happen in about an hour's time, but currently the Premier and the MEC for Education are addressing a media briefing in a venue just next door to the venue where the prize-giving ceremony will be held. Now, joining us, unfortunately, it's not the Premier, as you earlier said. It is Mr. Moses Kau, who is the head of international relations in the Premier's office. Good day, sir, and welcome.
Yeah, good day, ma'am.
Mr. Kau, the Free State government is known to invest quite a lot in matriculants, particularly the bursary scheme. Automatically, the top 100 are receiving bursaries, we know that today. But in total, this year, how many matriculants will be awarded bursaries?
Yes, I'll speak for those that are interested in international study. We know that the Free State government is an ANC government, and education is one of the apex priorities of the ANC government. So the Free State government, for those students who will have interest in international studies, the Free State government has put aside 400 scholarships to take students to countries such as Russia, Belarus, Bulgaria, and Germany, and later in the year to Portugal.
Now, we also know that these international studies, basically it's skills that a lot of the skill is, in short of in South Africa. What sort of courses are we looking at?
Yes, mainly the courses that we are taking students abroad for are the ones that have been highlighted by the Free State Growth and Development Plan. as the areas of study that we need in the province. For instance, in the past, the provincial government has taken about 200 students to Cuba to study medicine. We've got about 37 students in Turkey studying engineering and international trade and pharmacy. And we also have more than 278 students in China studying various areas of study, from medicine to engineering to pharmacy to international trade and so on and so on.
Now, people would say that why not study that in South Africa?
Yes, it's a good question, but it is clear that the universities here in the province and also in the country do not have capacity to have the intake of the numbers of the students that the Free State province is producing. For instance, you know that it's very difficult to get into medicine here at the University of Free State, regardless as to whether you're an A student or so. So these are the opportunities that we are using, arising from our international cooperation. The Free State government under Premier Magashule has got cooperation with more than 35 countries in the world, and we are using the goodwill of these countries to see whether we cannot piggyback on that and have scholarships, some of which will be sponsored by the provincial government, some of which will be scholarships sponsored by these governments in these countries. For instance, in China, for every 10 students, we have 2 students that are studying free.
And do we have students from those countries also coming into our country to study?
Yes, we have a lot of Chinese students, both at the University of Free State and the Central University of Technology, but they are not necessarily here based on the agreement between the two countries. These universities have got internationalization projects where they also go to these countries to recruit. But we are working very closely with the academic institutions in the province and the schools, and our cooperation is moving in that direction, where there will also be an influx of lecturers coming to the Free State to learn from the work that the lecturers are doing here. There will be exchange of students, exchange of technical expertise. For instance, our cooperation with Turkey is such that some of the students who are at the Central University of Technology who are doing engineering may have to go to Turkey during their practicals, when they need to do practicals.
Now, obviously, Mr. Gao, once a student has been offered a bursary, you'd want them to come back and invest in the Free State in terms of, working for the province. How does that go? How's that relationship going?
Yes, the Premier and the Executive Council in the province have already committed that all the students who have been given scholarships to study abroad will have jobs guaranteed when they come back, both in the provincial government and in municipalities, and we hope that the Free State business will also come to the party. Also, what I know, other instances outside are also looking at the Free State students. For instance, when you look at the South African National Defence Force, when you look at the SAA, most of the engineers in those instances are old men like myself who will be retiring soon. And our students, the first batch, will be coming back in 2019, and they'll be able to replace those engineers from those institutions that I've mentioned.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gao.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, that was the head of intergovernmental relations in the Premier's office, Mr. Moses Gao. And with that, it's back to you in the studio.
Palesa Moeti, thank you so much for that report there. Let's now go to the Northern Cape. In fact, before we get there, let me just remind you of that number on screen. Second Chance program, that number is 0800 202 973. You have a second chance. For all those matriculants who have failed, it's not many of them, but if you've failed, there is a second chance. It's not time to give up. You can call that number. The Department of Education is looking after you. 0800 202 973. Let's now go to the Northern Cape, where the Northern Cape's top performers in the 2015 matric exams will be honoured in Kimberley. The Northern Cape got a 69.4% pass rate. The province saw a drop of 7% compared to last year, 2014, or the previous year, that is. Now, to talk to us more about the matriculants who will be honoured in Kimberley, we now cross live to our reporter, Ulrich Hendricks, who's standing by with the city's MEC for Education in the Northern Cape. Ulrich, a very good morning to you and welcome. And first and foremost, you can just give us a brief background, what is happening there before you speak to your MEC.
Hi, good morning, Elvis. Yes, the Northern Cape, the pass rate did show a 7% decline. down from 76.4% to 69.4%. A total number of just over 11,500 pupils sat for the exams in 2015, and just over 8,000 passed the examination. And then some good news as well for the Northern Cape province, of course, is that the number of learners who gained a university entrance or admitted entrance have increased so far. Well, today the Northern Cape Honours announced their provincial results. They also honoured students and learners who did exceptionally well during 2015. But to talk to us about the provincial results is the acting MEC for Education in Northern Cape, Master Bartlett. Good morning, MEC.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all our viewers out there.
MEC, a 7% decline in the pass rate. What do you attribute to, and how are we going to fix it?
We are very disappointed about the 7% drop, but we must also say, because of the learners that we had, the progress learners, we didn't drop in numbers. We really accelerate. The only thing is the pass rate, the percentage-wise. But we are going to work. We do have plans in place, especially for this year, to work especially on this program. But as an acting MEC, I really want to say to you that as much as we are disappointed, we are also very proud and happy to tell you that at least in our province there was no leakages or no unfairness, so everything went well. And our systems were in place, and it seems that we are having a system that is winning. So for the future, we are going to have a summit, and that program will outline, and then we'll give you a program for the whole year to help our people.
Another thing that concerns you is that 39 schools within the province were below the 60% pass rate mark. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. That's also something that we are very disappointed in, because we didn't expect 39 schools to have a pass rate below 60%. We actually wanted to have an 80% pass rate, but unfortunately it wasn't reached. But I think we also, with the plans that we are having for the year and the summer that I'm talking about, we are also going to especially focus on that 60%, or on the 39 schools with a lower percentage of 60%.
Talk to us a bit about these plans. What is your thinking in terms of those what we need to do?
Yeah, what we actually want to do, we want to have a meeting, especially a Bosbarat, with all the principals and the senior managers and all our unions and the department, the government, because most of our budget from government is going to education department. So, and not only that, we also want to work with the students, but with that summit, we want to outline a program for the year, and not only for 2016, a program that can go beyond 2016. So, but I'm not going to outline the program now, but we will definitely, after we set with the unions, with all our stakeholders in education, and with the government, then we will give you a program that's outlined the whole 2016.
You were also very concerned about those learners who failed in 2015. The program that you are doing this year.
Yeah, no, I am actually very worried about them. The reason is because I know some of them, when are failing, they think it's the end of the world. But we really want to tell them and urge them not to do anything irresponsible. We want to urge them and tell them, the ones who didn't make it, they must just come and knock on our doors, whether it's the Premier's doors or any MECs or 9 departments. We are willing to help them, and we do have plans also for them. We are going to work. We actually said that they must register at the nearest ABET system, but it's not only the ABET system. We will also take them to our nearest. You can see there are, especially for education department, there are centers in the province that we can have, especially they can go to our district offices and register our district office, but we will make their life actually very comfortable this year. We are going after this week. We are going out from next week. We are going out to the districts to give us the children that didn't make it, and then we really want to focus on them, and we want to tell them, as much as you say the sky is the limit, and we want to tell them please to look after themselves. They can even start today, because our offices are open. If they know they didn't make it, I know they can rest, but they mustn't be disappointed. Even the parents must really assist the children, and they must come. Even they can go into the communities. There are councils, there are stakeholders, there are SGBs, and even they can go to their schools to make it more easier for them. to speak to the principals, and then the principals can interact with our officers. But we will definitely make sure that we will really have them, really want to, as I'm saying, they mustn't be disappointed. We are there for them.
Thank you very much. Martha Bartlett, she's the acting MEC for Education in the Northern Cape, talking to us about the provincial Matric results. Well, one learner who was going to party tonight and today because he did exceptionally well, 7 distinctions. That is Steven Padiachi. How do you feel?
I feel over the moon. This is not something I expected, but it's nice to know that all the hard work and late nights has paid off.
And what's your immediate plans for the future? Are you going to study and where?
Yes, I plan on studying medicine at the University of Stellenbosch, and yeah, I'm looking forward to being independent.
And tell us about the Matric exams last year. How did you prepare? Was it a whole year-round thing, or how did it?
Well, I decided in grade 10, what I wanted to do with my life. I set forward goals, and when I reached Matric, I decided to employ a strategy between balance. So I started working from day one. I tried to get ahead of the syllabus. I tried to work extra hours. But then also another key strategy of mine was try to relax, doing anything, watching TV, playing with the dogs, just anything so that you can take your mind off the books and just don't burn out from the stress.
Okay, so you're going to study medicine. Any thoughts of what do you want to specialize in?
My dream is to become a cardiac surgeon. So I just want to get the first 6 years done and then concentrate on that.
Are you going to come back to the Northern Cape? That's always a problem. Guys go back to the Western Cape, not coming back.
I would like to, but the heat would have to change for me to come back, honestly. But I would really like to come back to my hometown.
Steven Pillay, thank you very much. He's complaining about the heat. Quite hot here, in excess of 40 degrees. And one person who will know that is Elvis, our anchor in Johannesburg, and is back to you.
Ulrich, thank you very much. That's my hometown, Kimberley, and as you heard the young man, he's complaining about the heat. Born and bred out there, but still complaining about the heat. Can you believe it? Ulrich Hendricks, thank you so much for that report in Kimberley, where a group of Matric learners who performed very well in last year's exams are being honoured today. Now let's take a look at some of your Facebook comments and what you have to say on the Facebook page. A U.S. magistrate judge yesterday agreed to delay the deposition of Bill Cosby's wife by lawyers for women who have accused the comedian of sexual assault and sued him for defamation for calling them liars. Then we also see South Africa's main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, yesterday accused the country's education system of failing millions of poor children and described it as a national tragedy. And finally, South African FIFA presidential candidate Tokyo Sexwale has confirmed his attendance at a debate in Brussels. Now, these are some of the topics that you can find on our Facebook page and, of course, the SABC News website. Those are all the comments there for now. We will take a break and we'll be right back after that. So stay tuned. Do not touch that remote. You're tuned to Newsroom here on Channel 404 SABC News.
It is important for everyone to know food safety practices and make sure that their food is prepared safely from farm to the plate.
Who ensures that there's compliance?
In terms of all the abattoirs, they have to be registered. So when they are being registered, they are actually audited fully to make sure that the structural requirements as well as the hygiene requirements are met.
Most bacteria and viruses cannot withstand the normal cooking temperatures that we use to cook our food.
The bigger retailers cannot be seen as being insensitive to the food safety requirements.
There are many consumers that actually go shopping with a cooler box and ice packs so that they don't break the cold chain, because a few hours outside the temperature that it should be already shortens the shelf life of that product.
Join me on Health Talk every Saturday morning between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. as we unpack current health stories.
The theme for the day is our Matric results of 2015. Now, there were mixed reactions by political parties and other education stakeholders to the 5% drop in the Matric results of 2015, with most saying that more still needs to be done to turn the tide and the situation around. Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape were the worst performing provinces, and the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga, said that the department will focus more on these provinces because that's where the majority of learners are. Now, we are joined by the South African Democratic Teachers Union Media Officer, Nomusa Thembi. Nomusa, very good morning to you and welcome to 404.
Good morning.
Firstly, what do you make of the Matric results of 2015?
As such, we welcome the results, but as we welcome, we do so cautiously.
Why?
Because of the 5% drop. But in that, there are also positives. One of the positives is the fact that the learners in the lowest quintiles, quintile 1 to 3, those quintiles are regarded as quintiles where learners from poor backgrounds go to. And in those quintiles, we saw an increase in the number of learners who passed, and we saw an increase in the number of learners who got bachelors. We are saying we commend the teachers as well as the learners for this, because it is those schools where children or learners and teachers have the most or no facilities. You find that it is in these schools that are mainly in the townships and rural areas where learners have got to have morning classes, have got to have weekend classes, have got to have holiday classes in order to compensate for the fact that they do not have enough resources. So we are very happy with the achievement. And I can state it that it is mainly our members, SATU members, who teach in these schools.
Yes. So with minimum resources, they yet progressed.
They managed to, they passed, and even the number of bachelor passes increased, because you find that in previous years you'd find that it is only in quintile 5 and quintile 4 where you'll get the highest number of bachelor passes. But now, over this, I would say, past 2 or 3 years, we've seen that even in these lowest these quintiles, we are getting those bachelor passes.
What are some of the problems and the challenges that you've identified in the organization that could have led to the drop in the overall pass rate, that is, although we've seen this wonderful news in quintile 1 to 3?
What we see in this, the overall pass rate, we reflect on they reflect what is happening in the country in general. When you look at the 3 provinces that got the lowest marks, the lowest rates, they are Limpopo, they are KZN, they are the Eastern Cape. And those 3 provinces are poor provinces, are provinces that are very rural, are provinces that have minimal resources. So the socio-economic structure of the country is reflected in the result. So we say a lot needs to be done to ensure that these things, these obstacles, the issue of poverty, the issue which affects access, which affects resources, is addressed. And then we will see an improvement in the results, because you see that the highest performing provinces are provinces that are well-to-do or that are well off.
Now, so very often the focus is on the child and the pupil to perform well because they need to get through Matric. But should the same attention not be given also to teachers to have those resources at their disposal in order for them to manage their class?
Yes, it is very crucial that teachers are given the resources, that they are provided with adequate training and adequate resources to ensure that they teach better. And what is happening at the moment is that even with this new curriculum, it not only requires that one knows the book well off, it also requires that one has access to issues, to internet, to mass media. And you find that and that comes out even in questions. The questions not only ask what is there in the book, they ask what is there generally. And you find that those who do not have access to those things will seem to be at a disadvantage.
Your stance on the issue of progress learners as SATU? What is it?
First of all, I must say, even though the number of progress learners it's too small a number with the exam, in the exams, we are happy with what has happened, because we have seen that we have seen people coming up with distinctions, people coming up with bachelors in that progress learners category. So we are very happy with what we have seen.
Musa, thank you so much for your time and joining us here in the studio here on Newsroom.
Thank you very much.
Now, that was, of course, the South African Democratic Union's media officer. Let me just get the title correct. Musa Tembi in studio with us. Now, although the matric pass rate and results have been recorded as lower than the previous year, there is a need to look at teaching methods and the way that children's minds are ever changing in this digital world. Although there are many factors that contribute to lower results, one way to improve learning is to make education fun and interactive. That has been said many times. Joining us in our Cape Town studio is the CEO of educational publishing house Via Africa, Christina Watson. Christina, very good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you.
Thank you for holding on for us there and being patient. Now, we've had Via Africa on the show before, and in light of the lower matric results that we just had, what changes have you made for this year's programs?
Let me first say, I think we're making a mistake in the emphasis we place on the matric results. I think, this big hoo-ha is, are we up, are we down, which province is the best? It's not servicing the learners. It might serve other agendas, but I don't think it necessarily serves our learners. I think, we are subtly feeding the perception that of the 12 years a child spends in school, the only thing that is of importance is the matric results. And I don't think that's in the best interest of learners. As an educational publishing company, we realise that every single year in the schooling system is important. If we want to create learners that can participate in a 21st century economy, critical thinkers, problem solvers, people that can collaborate, we need to focus on more than just preparing them to write an exam and to achieve the best rates that they can.
Now, as a company, you offer alternative education methods. Do you think that our youth are struggling with the traditional teaching methods as they are involved and exposed to digital devices these days and new media?
I think it's a problem across the world. We are still teaching the way we did 200 years ago, and the world has changed dramatically. It's changed radically, and especially in terms of technology, we need to expose learners to technology from a very early age. If you start working with digital technology, learning in a digital fashion, and I'm not talking about electronic content because that's not e-learning. If you don't start doing that early, what can you do when you enter the world of work where everything is digitized, where you have to be able to work on technology? I think, and I'm happy to see that the Department of Basic Education has a key focus in terms of digital technology and digital education, because that's what we need to do to create children that can participate in a world of work today.
What has been your success rate via Africa with your methods that you use in schools?
We've piloted all our programs mainly in rural provinces, because we've been in a province like Limpopo that didn't achieve a good rate now. And we specifically do that because if a child that's never been exposed to technology can embrace digital learning, then it can be done anywhere. And we had a huge success rate. Learners' math skills improved, their language skills improved in short periods of time because they are engaged with a way of learning that they find encouraging, that motivates them, that is fun. So yeah, very successful.
Without going into much detail, just explore for us and brief us and give us an overview of the programs that you have.
Okay, what we've done is we've refurbished old shipping containers and we've placed them at schools fitted with tablets and educational content. And that's just the starting point. And then we go to schools once every 2 weeks and we put the teachers with the learners in the classroom through a training program to learn them how to use digital technology in the classroom and how to construct lessons in a technological sound way, so that they can really embrace what's out there in the world in the classroom, even if though they sit in a rural village that has no exposure to what's happening in city life. And I think key to the success of this training program is the fact that teachers over a year period engage in their classroom with their learners with technology and how to construct lessons and in a pedagogically sound way. So yeah, that's what we've done.
Mm-hmm. So you provide the entire container with everything that the learner and the teacher would need?
Yeah. We are, and what we do is we involve other corporates in sponsoring it. We are launching one in February in the Eastern Cape. So the corporate pay for everything, and then we refurbish the container, we fit the tablets, we load the content, and then we run the training program. And there's lots of ways that we measure it on a regular basis to make sure that we stay on track.
Now, how can schools get involved with your organization if they need your services and the sort of services that you provide?
You know, every single school in the country needs the services that we provide, and of course we can't keep on sponsoring these things. That's why we involved other corporates. But what I would say is if a school is interested in accessing one of these digital education centres, is try and negotiate with a corporate entity in your local community and see if you can't get to an agreement that they will sponsor some aspects. And we can assist you in finding other sponsors in your area. But I do think that we need to do everything we can from the public side as well to get learners exposed to technology, but not only exposed to technology, exposed to a proper way in which they can engage in an educationally sound way with digital technology and digital content. Is there a number or perhaps a website that people can log into that they can get hold of you? Yeah, they can access us on our website www.viaafrica.com, and it's Africa with a K. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. That was in our Cape Town studios, the CEO of educational publishing house Via Africa, Christina Watson, chatting to us about their digital education center. I think it's a fantastic idea. Thank you so much, Christina. Now let's move on now. Minister of Education Angie Motshekga has launched the National Senior Certificate Retention Program, also known as the Second Chance Program, after announcing results last night. Now, here's that number again for you to remember. That is if your child or relative or somebody that you know didn't make it through Matric. Remember, it's not the end of the world. There's a number that you can dial, 0800 202 973. That's the number to dial. Now let's take a look at some of your comments here, what we have. And a man that's making headlines today and yesterday, Themba Bavuma, scored his maiden test century for South Africa yesterday. That 25-year-old was 102 not out when the host declared on 627 for 7. Let's take a look at some of your tweets, what you have to say about that. Let's take a look at the first one here from Sean Wilson. Serious goosebumpy moment being at the grounds for Themba Bavuma's 100. Definitely one of my favorites of many Newland cricket memories, says Sean Wilson. The bottom one's there from Jubut's Maswidi, says, remember these words, dude. Bavuma scored 10-0 in his 2 innings in Durban and should make way for Quinton de Kock. Says that one. And Maponya says, nice one, good work, keep working hard. Hashtag Bavuma. And there you have it, the man of the moment, Themba Bavuma. What a knock he had. And of course, remember, that's some of the comments that you have for us. You can let us know what's on your mind on the Facebook page as well as on the Twitter handle. But now the Second Chances program, that number again, 0800 202 973. We'll be back at the top of the hour after the weather.
10:00 hour Central Africa time on this Wednesday, the 6th of January 2016. This is Newsroom, SABC News on Channel 404, Jumbo Africa. And a very warm welcome to the second hour. I'm Elvis Preston. I'll be with you until 12 o'clock. Stay with us as we broadcast live from our Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg, South Africa, and the rest of the African continent. We're also streaming live on YouTube with the entire show available on our YouTube channel. In our question of the day, we focus on the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, who released the 2015 Matric results last night, which shows a drop to 70.7%. And we're asking you this morning, what did you make of the latest drop in the 2015 Matric results? You can let us know on our Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom and on our Facebook page. But first, let's take a look at all your news headlines. It's celebration time as the class of 2015 ponders its way forward. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says that the focus this year is on the 3 worst performing provinces. And ANC Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has been campaigning for the party in the Northwest Province ahead of the party's 104th anniversary celebrations in Rustenburg this weekend. Well, before we go to the news, let's find out what's happening on the sports front. Whatever can do.
Thank you, Elvis, and a very good morning. Now we take a look at some of the sports stories making headlines. The Proteas will hope that their sterling performance on day 4 will inspire their bowlers on day 5 against England at New Year's. And FIFA ethics watchdog has recommended a 9-year ban for its Secretary General Jerome Falk over alleged corruption involving the sale of World Cup tickets. And I'll have more on these and other sports stories later in the program. It's back to Elvis on the main desk.
Thank you, Lebo. He will be back later with more, but right now your top story this hour. ANC Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has been campaigning for the party in the Northwest Province ahead of the ANC's 104th anniversary celebrations in Rustenburg this weekend. The Deputy President visited Potchefstroom, where by-elections for the Tlokwe local municipality will be held next month.
Tlokwe local municipality in the Northwest, hotly contested by the ANC, independent candidates and opposition parties. The ANC's Deputy President took the fight to other political contenders.
Tlokwe is ANC territory. We're going to win these elections. They are by-elections. We're going to win to make sure that Tlokwe is retained by the African National Congress. It's a given. It's a foregone conclusion. Tlokwe will remain ANC.
The visit was also about talking and responding to the needs of communities.
The council must build her a house. She's 68 years old and she's been on the list for many years.
I am very happy and excited. I don't even know what to do. Since this morning, I've been praying that God should help me by getting a house so that if I die, I should at least have a shelter.
Tlokwe independents have called for political tolerance.
We are tolerant to the ANC's presence in Potch, in our wards, in our own yards, in our own houses. They are more than welcome to come and talk to people, as we would also expect them to welcome our campaigns as they will be rolling out.
Ramaphosa is mobilizing communities to attend the ANC's January 8th celebrations in Rustenburg this coming Saturday. Tsolofelo Matibedi, SABC News, Potchefstroom.
The ANC Women's League will launch its youth desk in Bloemfontein on Thursday. Now this in a bid to give young women a voice. The desk will focus on programs that affect young females in the country and will include women in business, academia, students, civil society, youth league members and other structures.
The ANC, established in 1912 to emancipate and liberate Africans. Women were also members, but that was not enough. In 1931, the Bantu Women's League was established. It later became the ANC Women's League. Its aim to give women a voice. But 85 years on, the ANC Women's League says it's been leaving out young people. But this will be rectified when Young Women's Desk is launched.
The desk itself is meant to create a platform for young professionals to deal with issues as they affect them, as academia to deal with issues as they affect them within the sector, students as matters affect them, but overall there are certain issues that unite all of us and behind the banner of the ANC Women's League.
The desk is as a result of resolution taken at the previous conferences.
They want to participate in the struggles of women, so they want to associate with ideology behind the women's struggles.
Over 5,000 delegates aged between 18 and 40 from all 9 provinces are expected to attend the launch. SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, the African National Congress has declared itself ready for its 104th anniversary celebrations, which will take place in Rustenburg over the weekend. Africa's oldest liberation movement will hold its annual birthday in the Northwest. All provinces get a chance to host the event on a rotational basis.
It will be a sweltering 41 degrees here in Rustenburg, where the governing party will hold its biggest annual celebrations, the January 8th statement. Strict security measures are in place for the occasion.
There are 2 core messages that we would want the media to talk about and our people to take note of. One, it's about the heat and being able to adapt and make sure that you do not expose yourself to excessive heat levels. The second one, it's around road closures.
On Saturday, party president Jacob Zuma is expected to issue a clarion call for the unity of purpose as it begins the municipal election year. Although the stadium accommodates 43,000 people, the ANC expects more than twice that number.
What is of importance with a January 8th anniversary that coincides with the elections campaign, it actually sets the tone because it is the message for the year. So when we launch our campaign, we'll draw reference to the NEC statement that will be presented by the President on what needs to be done. And our manifesto for local authorities will be informed, of course, by the local issues and demands, but broadly about where the ANC would want to go.
While the gathering does not mark the official launch of this year's election campaign, supporters will be urged to rally behind the party as preparations begin. The next few days will see members of the National Executive spread across the province drumming up support. Top officials, including the President and Deputy President, will lead the mobilization campaigns. Mzondi Lembeje, SABC News, Rustenburg.
The ANC says it's optimistic that it will regain the trust and support from the community of Marikana in the Northwest. The ruling party is holding its 104th anniversary celebrations in the mining town of Rustenburg. President Jacob Zuma will be in Marikana, where he's expected to hand over houses. 44 people, including 34 miners, were killed in Marikana during a protracted strike at Lonmin Platinum Mine in 2012.
It would be wrong to say that we are not concerned with disaffection of any community anywhere in the country. But we do believe that the idea that the ANC has not engaged in Marikana is a fallacy. The manner in which we engage is a deep, we dig our roots very deeply. And we believe that we've done so in Marikana. And what we want to tell you is watch the space. Yes, the community were angry, and we'll see how that anger over time will dissipate.
Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says that the department will focus this year on the 3 worst performing provinces. She was speaking after announcing that the 2015 Matric pass rate has dropped by over 5% to 70.7%. The best performing province is again the Western Cape, with the Eastern Cape yet lagging behind again at the bottom.
The numbers are in and the scores have been tallied. And this is how the class of 2015 fared.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 NSC overall results pass stands with all learners progress and non-progress. It says 70.7%, down from 75.9%. That represents, in numbers, 455,825 learners who have passed in 2015. So in terms of numbers, we've won the number game for 2015. Because this is the largest number of learners who have passed in the history of this country.
The number of those meeting the minimum requirements for university has also increased from 150,737 in 2014 to 166,263. Maths and science remain problematic subjects. There was an increase in the number of passes, but a drop in percentage. In mathematics, 129,481 pupils passed in 2015, just over 8,000 more than 2014. Science increased by just under 10,000. The number of distinctions up by 3,711. Provincially, the Eastern Cape attained 56.8%, a drop from 65.4% in 2014. More than 162,000 candidates sat in KwaZulu-Natal, achieving a 60.7 pass rate, a 9% drop. More than 34,000 bachelor passes came from this province. Limpopo came in at 65.9%. Northern Cape candidates achieved a 69.4% pass rate, a drop from 76.4%. Mpumalanga showed a slight drop with 78.6%. The following provinces achieved above 80%. Northwest with 81.5%, Free State with 81.6%, Gauteng came in at 84.2%. 38,760 of its 108,442 candidates attained bachelor passes, the highest in the country. The Western Cape was the only province with an increased pass rate. Its 53,000 candidates achieved 84.7%, up by 2.5% in 2014. Mahlaku Komane, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, has launched the National Senior Certificate Retention Program, also known as the Second Chance Program, after announcing results the previous night. My colleague, Ayanda Ali Payne, spoke to the Minister this morning and asked her what is going to happen to those students who have not succeeded.
We are intensifying our support to supplementary exam learners. We've noticed that in the past, learners who have been given a second chance to write the subjects that they didn't perform well, don't perform well. So we thought it's a wasted opportunity which will support them more to make sure that they do pass the supplementary exams. But we also anticipated this year that there will be lots of learners. We expected even more learners will not make through because we first raised the cognitive standards of our papers. So we did expect that there'll be some learners who will just not be able to make it. But also we had encouraged learners that will otherwise be requested not to return. We encourage them to write. Some have passed, are very excited about it, but some only wrote part of the subjects. We said write 3 if 6 is too heavy. And those learners, we want to support them more. And even those that have failed, we want to give them a second chance to write.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what we're doing here today, the launch of the Second Chance program. How does it work and what does it entail?
It's a broad program because we're looking at learners who will be at different places at different times. It's not learners that will be having a school, so we have your telematic programs where they can really have support programs through television. We have Vodacom School, which we launched also to get them registered on the Vodacom School. Again, it's ICTs that we're using. We will also be having centers where in case they can access any computer, they can access a phone, they can access a TV, then we'll have dedicated centers where we give them support. It's not your ordinary school. We support them in specific areas and in areas that we know are areas of weakness. The main aim is to close the gap.
Mm-hmm. And we will be going into detail with some of the officials surrounding Second Chance program. What I want to speak to you about now is how we fix the problems that we experienced in 2015. The lowest three performing, Eastern Cape right at the bottom. We did see Limpopo at least moved one up. It was the second from the bottom, but it was now surpassed by KZN. Those three, Limpopo, KZN, Eastern Cape, we know where the problems are. The question is, how do we fix it?
No, the problems are just bigger than even those three provinces, so we have to admit. The system needs just lots of work in different areas. What we, for instance, with progress learners, what we know is that these are learners who've been progressed from phase to phase, because according to our acts, learners may not repeat a phase more than twice. So if you're in the foundation phase, you fail once, we send you to the intermediate phase. You fail once, we send you. So it's kids who've been progressed and not supported through the system. So which means we have to take these learners as we progress them from the foundation phase and give either remedial education and dedicated support. So it's one of the systems that we have, of the reparations we have to do. The system is also, the landscape is a problem. We find all our kids, because, and you can't blame our learners, because that's what we have presented as government, a very academic system. 80% of our learners have to go to schools to prepare them to go to universities, which is not what the economy sometimes requires. And that's not what the interests of learners or even the talents are. So this year, the president will be launching what we call to strengthen the technical stream, so that we begin to move out of the 80-20, 80 academic, 20 technical. Most developed countries, China, for instance, is 50-50, 50 academic, 50 technical. Advanced countries like Germany, they're even more than, it's more technical than academic. So we have to diversify our offerings at a curriculum level. But so there are quite a number of things. Even in the classroom, we have to differentiate because of the pressures that our teachers have. It's, you teach at the pace of the average. So your bright learners are marginalized, your slow learners are marginalized, you're teaching at the average. So we also have to work very closely with our teachers, even with the way we develop our material, to have differentiated. So there's a number of things that have to happen. Yeah. But in these three provinces, especially in Limpopo and the Eastern Cape, what stands out is instability in the administration.
Now, the ANC in the Northwest will meet its alliance partners, COSATU and SABC in Rustenburg, to resolve internal squabbles. But just remember our question today, let me just remind you of that. What do you make of the latest drop in the 2015 Matric results? You can let us know on the Facebook page as well as on the Twitter page. Remember also that for all those matriculants who need a second chance, it's not all over yet. If you failed, you can call this number, 0800 202 973. That's the second chance program that the Department of Basic Education has put in place for you, the matriculant. You can call that number. Now, the ANC Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, will chair that meeting that is going to happen in Rustenburg. Now, to get more information about the Tripartite Alliance meeting, we now cross live to our reporter, Aldrin St-Pierre. Aldrin, a very good morning to you, and can you tell us what that meeting is all about?
Well, good morning, Albus. Yes, the Deputy President is currently meeting the provincial alliance partners here in the Northwest, which is the ANC in the Northwest, SANCO, the SACP, as well as COSATU as well. Some of the issues raised by the provincial partners is that they feel that they've been sidelined ahead of the January 8th statement. You'd remember that there have been all these activations happening ahead of the January 8th statement, different NEC members going out, mobilizing people to join the ANC as it celebrates its 140th, rather 104th birthday at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. And some of the members feel that they have been sidelined. I was speaking to a provincial leader of the ANC earlier on, and he was saying that basically what the alliance partners should understand is what their roles are within the alliance, and what they should also understand is that this is not an alliance, it's not an alliance event rather, but it is an ANC event, although the ANC is in the alliance and it is the leader of the alliance. And also yesterday, you'd remember that there was the announcement by NEC members, well, Nomvula Mokonyane, saying that alliance alliance partners will not be allowed to speak at the January 8th statement. It will only be President Jacob Zuma who will deliver the keynote address. And normally what happens during these programs is that you have alliance partners who come through, who give messages of support and so forth. But this time around, it seems that that will not happen. And the argument there coming from Nomvula Mokonyane is that because of the heat, it's expected to reach, temperatures here are expected to reach around 41 degrees Celsius at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. So they want the program to be done before 2 p.m. I was speaking to a COSATU official as well, who said that that shouldn't happen. What should happen right now is that the alliance should show unity heading into these municipal elections, because that is very important, not only for those supporters of the ANC, but supporters of the alliance partners as well.
Unity, will that be one of the key issues, as you indicated, that will be discussed, or is there more behind the scenes that we're not aware of?
Well, there probably are more issues that will be raised during this meeting, and probably later on, when I get to touch base with some of the officials who were part of this meeting, we'll get some feelers out there exactly what some other issues have been raised. But right now, it seems that the most important issue raised by the alliance partners is the issue the issue around the January 8th statement, because it's the most immediate. What we have seen as well is media reports where some ANC members within the province have said that they will disrupt the ANC's activation plans heading into the January 8th statement. But it's still unclear whether that will be raised here. We know that the ANC has issued numerous statements saying that issues pertaining to provincial structures should be raised within the structures. Those who have issues with the provincial chairperson of the province, Supra Mahomobelo, should raise that within the province, and at a later stage, when they feel that they've exhausted all internal avenues, then only then can they take it to a national level. But I guess considering that this will be an open platform, it wouldn't stop anyone who's part of this meeting from raising that issue, that they feel that they've been sidelined as well by the chairperson of the ANC here in the Northwest, Supra Mahomobelo.
Can you confirm that the ANC Deputy President will chair the meeting, and who else will be there?
Well, right now we know that it is the Deputy President of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, who's arrived. I think he arrived just about 30 minutes just before we started this crossing, and the meeting is currently underway. And then we have all the different provincial leaders of the ANC, the SACP, COSATU, as well as SANCO. I can confirm that Supra Mahomobelo, who's the chairperson of the province, he's not here, but his deputy Lihare is part of the delegation here.
Aldrin Sampier, thank you so much for that report. You'll keep us updated as that meeting concludes there. That's our reporter Aldrin Sampier talking to us about the Tripartite Alliance meeting that's happening in the Northwest. Now, subsequent to the University Fees Must Fall protest that happened last year during exam preparations, some institutions of higher learning had to postpone their exams to December last year. Now, as the protest intensified in the Tshwane University of Technology, the management decided to move the exams to January this year. TUT students coming back from their holidays had to write their exams so that they can progress to the next year of study. Now, to give us an update on the situation there, we are joined by the Tshwane University of Technology Deputy Vice Chancellor of Teaching, Learning and Technology, Professor Stanley Mokola. Professor, very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Elvis. Good morning to our viewers too out there.
Now, Professor, is the university ready for the exams?
Before I can respond to that question, Elvis, can I take the opportunity now to congratulate the matriculants that said the results yesterday, to say to them, those who have succeeded, please, well done. Universities are waiting for you to actually flow in to start academic and higher education from this year. Now, to come to your question, Elvis, indeed, yes, we are ready. I can assure you that now I've been at Soshangube for the past 2 days, and all things that we are doing there now, actually, I take it, everything is in order. Students are ready now to start the exams as on Monday 11th to the 29th of January.
Were the students allowed to use the university facilities during the holidays to prepare for their January exams? And if so, were they monitored to avoid any violence?
In fact, you realize students were allowed to come back on the 4th. That means on a Monday this week now to prepare for the examinations prior to the 11th of January. And as I speak with you now, we have actually made our facilities available for them. The library is open, the cafeteria is open, and then the residence has been open for them. And those who are actually residing within the Sochangube community, they are also allowed access into the university in order to come and study. But I must make this one clear, Elvis, that now, for them to come in, we require 3 items. That is their ID, their student card of 2015, including a printout of their examination timetable that they need to prove that they are indeed our students. This was informed, of course, Elvis, by the fact that now some of the people who actually caused problems last year, they are non-students. So they gain access into our campus and start causing problems. So in order for us now to keep peace on campus, we require all our students to provide these 3 items for them to gain access and use their facility.
Now, with the students coming back from their holidays a little bit more rested, does the university expect a good pass rate?
I was talking to some of them, Elvis, as on Monday, Tuesday, just to find out how ready they are. Indeed, they confirm, no, unlike maybe writing exams in November, this time they were distracted because there was Christmas in between, there was a New Year in between. So you may not expect a student to prepare 100%, but they say they'll do everything in their power to make sure that now they succeed in the examination. And lucky enough now, staff members are also back on campus now to assist those who want to put up questions to them and guide them how to actually approach the examination. So I'm just pinning my hopes on the students' performance and hard work to really perform to their optimum.
How soon will the students receive their results, Professor, so that they can move on to the next year of study?
Normally, our policy, Elvis, is that now after every subject that you write, we give lecturers 3 days to mark the script. So I take it now, starting from 11th to the 29th, by the 1st of February, they'll be able to know whether they've actually made it or not. And after the 1st of February, those who could actually obtain 45% to 49%, they'll be given a second chance. We call it now re-examination, for them now to really try again and to see whether they'll be successful. So we try everything now to assist our students. So we hope the majority will make it in the first chance, and those who are not able to make it, but having obtained 45% and up, they'll get a second chance.
Mm-hmm. So the ones that really make it, they will be able to know before the end of February.
By the way, by the end of this month, they'll be able to receive their results, because anyway, after every exam paper, after 3 days, the results actually get marked and be submitted. And those who qualify for re-exam, they'll be able to be notified for them to prepare for the 1st of February. So we release the results as and when they come.
Now, we've seen the violent protests last year, Professor. The Fees Must Fall campaign was at the center of why students protested. How will the university now deal with this matter in 2016, especially those students who have to move to the next year of study and can't afford to pay the fees?
Elvis, with Titus University, I can assure you that now we set up what we call now University Bursary Fund as a university, beside the NS funds that we receive. This is in order to try and assist the students that we believe are able to make it academically. So we're putting our heads together as TUT management to say, let's try and get source funding from outside for those students who are able to make it, that now we can assist them. But for those parents who can pay, we are really insist that now they must assist their children, because now together we must build this nation for the better South Africa. So we hope that now NSFAS will be able to come on board too with extra funding that will be able to assist those students who are indeed desperate to get education but have no means to actually get education.
Professor, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very, very much, and I really appreciate the time that you gave us.
Thank you so much. That was the Tshwane University Technology Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Teaching, Learning and Technology, Professor Stanley Mukola, on the line to us. Now, the ANC is optimistic that it will regain the trust and support from the community of Marikana in the northwest. The party will be in the township today, with President Jacob Zuma expected to hand over houses. This will be the first major visit by the ANC national leadership since 2012, where the Marikana tragedy in which 44 people, including 34 minors, were killed. Now, for the latest, we are joined by SABC presidential correspondent Mzwandile Mbeja. Mzwandile, a very good afternoon, good morning to you rather, and tell us about the handing over of the houses there in Marikana.
Thanks, Elvis. Though there's difficulty in hearing you, I would assume you're talking about the handing over of the houses that the president is going to be giving to some individuals today here in Marikana, as you've indicated. You know that the governing party, the ANC, has descended on Northwest, but I think what they have decided is that the president, in his capacity as head of state, and then he will then discharge his stately duties by then handing over these houses. You know, this is a project that one was announced immediately after the fateful events of Marikana in 2012. So the houses have already been constructed, some of them not completed, but there's a big number of houses that have been built. And with me is our fellow reporter, Silo Tadai, who has reported extensively in these areas, who knows exactly the kinds of developments that are happening here. Welcome to you, Silo.
Good morning to you, Mzwai, and good morning to the viewers.
We understand that the president will be here midday to hand over the houses to some of the beneficiaries, but we know that the work is not complete yet. But having reported here so extensively, so is there progress that is visible, that is really ongoing?
Let me take you back to as far back as 2012. You'll remember that over and above the demand for 12,500 after deduction, the living conditions of mine workers by then occupied center stage, and it was a talking point. And there was a comprehensive study that was done by a Benchmark Foundation, which found that over 20,000 workers who are employed by loanmen, only 3,000 of them live in proper houses. 17,000 of them live in squalor conditions. So the basis of this particular development was to bridge that gap of providing houses to these mine workers. Whether this is a drop in an ocean remains a bone of contention, because when you travel the Platinum Belt, there is a high demand, or there is a need for government to intervene in providing houses to the people. And yes, we can see that there is progress that has been made. We are talking about 292 breaking new ground houses, which are going to benefit not only the mine workers, but the people who are living here at the Platinum Belt. And we also have 252 rental stock. Then I'm assuming that will benefit those workers, because given the nature and how the structural economy of the mine companies is based, many of these workers are from provinces as far as Eastern Cape and other SADC countries such as Botswana and Mozambique. Then those rental stock will go into benefiting primarily those workers who are staying in provinces and countries that I've alluded to.
Right now, we understand that the number is about 550, if I'm not mistaken, of the houses and the rental stock that have been built. I know, if my memory serves me well, I think 2 billion rand was set aside. Are you aware how much of the money that has been used to build these houses?
This is the first phase of a multi-million rand project, as you are correctly pointing out, Mzwai. We are talking about 130 million that has been committed for this project alone. And we are talking about 2,600 housing units which will be completed, comprising of the first phase, the second phase, and the third phase. And that is where the 2 billion rand figure comes into the fore. But as I pointed out earlier on, we are expecting that this project will have spillover effects, and maybe it's an indication of better things to come for not only the mine workers, but for the entire community around the Platinum Belt. When you talk about your Serralian community, when you talk about your Sondela at the shafts of Anglo Platinum, when you talk about the number 8 shaft at Impala, where there is a dire need for government to come and devise some plans to provide houses for those particular individuals. But of critical concern, though, is whether mining companies have been coming to the fore in terms of adhering to the dictates of the mining charter, such as your social labor plan and corporate social investment, because the Marikana Commission in its findings were scathing about mining companies not playing their part in terms of playing that critical role of being providing houses and accommodation for the employees.
As someone who normally spends his time here, are people accepting this? Are people happy with the developments that the government and, of course, the private sector and the mines are trying to offer them?
Many of workers are happy, but many of them that we have spoken to are worried about the rollout of this particular program, because if my memory serves me well, many of them do not fall within this bracket. Many of them, they earn as much as 7,000 and above, and policy dictates that only those who are earning less than 7,000 should be the beneficiaries of this particular project. But again, I would think that those who are falling within or outside the 7,000 bracket will go into the rental stock, and those who are earning less than 7,000 will then be the beneficiaries of these breaking new ground houses.
I see there appears to be great stability here. You know, a few years ago you wouldn't just walk easily, but it appears people are happy, are jovial. So has the stability really retained?
There is harmonization, frankly speaking, given what transpired in the last 3 years. There is no longer that pandemonium that we used to see pre the 16th of August and post the 16th of August. And there has been a heavy police contingent over the years which has been deployed here to monitor the situation. So I can safely say that there is harmonization, and to a large extent there is stability, and people are willing to come to the fore and express their dissatisfaction. Some are expressing their satisfaction about how things have panned out since 2012 and the new developments that are being brought by government together with Lonmin in a joint venture that we are seeing today.
Thank you very much, Silo. There you have it. It's our reporter there, Silo Tatai, indicating to us the developments that have taken place. We know that in midday today, President Jacob Zuma will be here to hand over the houses. As we indicated earlier on, the governing party is in the province to mobilize for its 104th birthday on Saturday here in Rustenburg. And then, of course, the work of government doesn't stop. That is why President Zuma will be here in his capacity as head of state to do the stately duty. It's back to you in the studio.
Mzondile Mbeja, thank you so much for that report. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with your sports news. Oh, no ad break. We go straight to the sports.
Thank you very much, Elvis, and good morning once again. Now, it is the 5th day of the first test between the Proteas and England, and play has resumed at Newlands. At the end of the 4th day, England were on 16 for no loss. We're now going to cross live to Cape Town to our commentators down there.
Welcome to our viewers on Channel 404 SABC News. And we have big news for you on the 5th morning from Newlands. England captain Alistair Cook has just been dismissed moments ago. Here it is, caught down the leg side. Unlucky for Alistair Cook, but it's a complete change of weather conditions for this 5th morning. For the first time in the test match, we have overcast skies, and the southeaster, which has blown across the ground for the first 4 days, has turned around 180 degrees. We've now got the northwester, which always means that the ball swings more. Nick Compton is the new batsman. He had an impressive test match in Durban before adding another useful 45 in the first innings here in Cape Town. He's just required to settle things down for England. The last thing they need is to be 30 for 3. First time in the test match that there's anything to encourage the seam bowlers. Huge appeal inside edge, I fancy. Might have been sliding down the leg side. Alongside me, Herschel Gibbs. They're considering the review, and they've gone for it, and nod of approval from Herschel.
Yeah, why not? They've got them rattled a little bit with the early dismissal of their captain, so why not have the review? Kakisa Rabada looked quite positive. Front foot's good. Is there any timber involved? That is the big question. And is. This is what we was talking about earlier, is that they can just rattle England a little bit up front. Just never know. It just creates a little bit of doubt. You know, they did field for 200 overs. The batsmen won't be the freshest this morning, even though I'm sure they use roll-on, but
and sleeping tablets if necessary,
I'm sure. And yeah, you just never know on day 5. Test cricket's all about, and what makes it the best format there is.
Well, unsuccessful review for South Africa, but they have had the success of dismissing Alistair Cook for 8. England are 17 for 1, leading by just 19. And on that note, we'll say farewell to our viewers on Channel 404.
Well, and those were the visuals there down in Cape Town at Newlands, South Africa. A good start on day 5, taking that first wicket. Kagiso Rabada bowling out. Alistair Cook, the captain of England, at 17 for 1. Still continuing with cricket news from Newlands. And now it was all about Themba Bavuma yesterday when he made his maiden Test century with his family, watching on the stands at Newlands. In doing so, Bavuma Proteas became the first black African player to score 100 for South Africa. Craig Murray caught up with the country's newest hero.
This is where I learned cricket, the passion, it grew from here. So, having been able to achieve this kind of milestone, at my favorite ground in the world, I think it makes it a bit more special. But especially from what I saw today, he's a tough competitor, honest man. He did come hard, everything in the spirit of the game, and then afterwards, after I reached the milestone, he was man enough to come and say, congratulations, and that's something you can respect in the man. I think a lot of satisfaction, obviously, just getting that first 100. I've been yearning for it. I've been fighting for it. So just getting that one under the belt, and just looking forward to the future ones if they do come.
Now, cricket was also being celebrated in India last night. That's because a 15-year-old schoolboy has rewritten record books. Pranav Dhanawade hammered an epic 1,009 not out in an inter-school cricket tournament, making it the highest individual score in an innings in any form of the game. The youngster smashed 129 fours and 59 sixes in his staggering 323-ball knock played over 2 days before his school declared the innings on a staggering 1,465 for 2. The previous highest record in minor cricket was set in England by Arthur Collins, who notched up 628 not out in 1899. Well, moving on to soccer news, investigators for FIFA's ethics watchdog has recommended that suspended FIFA Secretary General Jerome Falk be banned from soccer for 9 years. The ethics committee further said Falk should be fined nearly $100,000 for ethics violations. Now, the investigatory chamber of the Ethics Committee for Global Soccer Body FIFA said it had concluded its investigation into Falk and given its findings to the ethics body. Falk's 90-day suspension over World Cup ticket selling accusations was set to end yesterday, but investigators also recommended that Ethics Committee extend this by 45 days. Falk has denied any wrongdoings. And that was all the sports we had for you in this hour. It's back to Elvis on the main desk.
Thank you. That's your sports news for now. He'll be back a little bit later with more. But right now, the MEC for Education, Panyasin Sufi, here in Gauteng, is speaking at Rhema Church, and I think he's looking at the results for Gauteng.
Business partners, the leadership of the department, the HOD, DDGs, district directors, chief directors, principals, educators, parents, learners, our top achievers, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, we are deeply humbled as a Department of Basic Education that we have honored our invitation to come here. I want to start our release of our results with this story. Here is a lady, 18-year-old, with no hope, and she said this to me. I knew I'll pass my Matric, but MEC, I didn't know whether I will find the funding that will assist us to go to university. Peziwe Makelani knew she had to get distinctions in Matric because without a bursary, her future was dead. Today, many of our learners, including Fezile, are excited because they've performed beyond our expectations. She came from Eastern Cape, resided in Ekurhuleni. Because the parents could not afford a house, she decided to stay with a teacher. The teacher provided all the relevant support that she needed, including accommodation. As the Minister of Basic Education released the results yesterday, Pheziwe Mkhalane achieved 8 distinctions with no subject less than 90%. It is learners like Pheziwe Mkhalane that makes us proud. Because our commitment was one and it remains one. The only way to break the shackles of poverty is through education, education, education. We are humbled as a department that those that led the battle against gutter education in 1976, we can assure them that as this generation of leaders will never disappoint them, and quality education will arrive in this country in our lifetime. We commit ourselves that the future for our children will not be compromised, that every child that enters our education space, this particular child must come out with a certificate. We are proud as this province that for the very, very first time in the history of our country, and for the very, very first time in the history of our province, we have managed to ensure that by the end of this month, 91,000 learners will have a certificate that says they've passed Matric. Never before have we reached that magical 90,000 mark. We are excited as a province that we come to the 2015 Matric pass rate knowing one thing and one thing only, that our learners must pass, but they must pass with the relevant support that will give them so that they can achieve their goals. We might have not met our aspirations that we set in 2014, but we came close and close to such an extent that even those that managed to occupy position 1 in the announcement of the Matric results, they know that we breathe heavily, and they know that they have to beat Gauteng for them to be the best. I know it's very difficult to the team that I led. I know it's very difficult to the HOD, the district directors. I know when we released the results to some of our principals and the district officials, it was as if someone has passed on in our family. This is because we always aim high as a province, and we want to congratulate the Western Cape Education Department for occupying position 1 temporarily, and wants to warn them. We want to warn them, enjoy it while it lasts, because we are coming. The provincial pass rate in Matric in 2015 is 84%, 84.22%, while the performance is down with 0.47 on the 2014 performance. I remain convinced that we can do much as a province. Gauteng has once again this year achieved a significant milestone in respect of national performance, and we do have many reasons to celebrate with our learners and our educators. It must be noted that this is the second and larger group of learners compared to 2014 who were progressed without having grade 11 promotion to go through. It would be unwise to blame the underperformance in some of these subjects to these learners, as the minister has indicated last night, and we therefore want to thank these learners who have demonstrated that they are better off in the classroom than in the streets. Minister, be assured of our support with progress learners. We believe it's a phenomenon that we have to accept. We believe that we need to give them the second chance that they deserve. For those that don't know, these learners that failed grade 11, if we didn't progress them, as we are speaking to you now, they will either queue in for a social grant or be in a prison. We gave them a second chance, and majority of them, they've not only passed, but some of them have passed with distinctions, which simply means that we gave them a second chance. We also want to thank the minister for initiating the second chance program, because this program will award these learners an opportunity for them to further their studies and for those that have failed to be given another chance. Minister, be assured of our support. The support we'll give to these learners, as well as the support that we'll provide that is needed during the year, so that these learners indeed must get a second chance. I held a discussion with our Honorable Premier and the MEC responsible for a tap of 500,000 in the province, and we want to assure all those learners that failed Matric last year, 17,000 of them to be precise, all of them, as the provincial government, we are taking them to a program called STEP of 500,000. Within this particular program, they will be reskilled, be placed as interns in our government departments, and be given an opportunity for them to have a second chance in life. All the 17,000 learners that have failed. In Gauteng, we don't have a dustbin for failures. In Gauteng, we have opportunities for our young people. We want to give these young people an opportunity. We are also going to link these young people to various sector-based organizations, SETAs, so that these young people can be given an opportunity that will change their lifetime. We believe very strongly in Gauteng that we don't solve social problems through social grants. We solve social grants through education and skills development. And that is why we commit that these young people are going to be given an opportunity that will allow us. Let me come to the results, and I want to explain some of the key areas that we are proud of as Gauteng. In Gauteng, 14 of our 15 districts performed above 80% compared to the 13 districts in 2014. In the top five nationally, 3 of the districts that are in the top 5 come from Gauteng, and in the top 10, 7 of the districts come from Gauteng. So I want to congratulate Sidibeng East and take this opportunity to congratulate and say to the Executive Mayor of Sidibeng, thank you so much for providing the assistance and to ensure that Sidibeng occupies position 1. Sidibeng achieved 90.4 pass rate, and the second position goes to Gauteng West. And I want to congratulate Gauteng West for achieving second position at 90.15% as the second best district in the country. But let's congratulate Ekurhuleni South. Ekurhuleni South, that's your Katoras, Alberton area. The pass rate from this district rose from 79.7% in 2014 rate in 2014, and this is an increase of 3.5. And I want to congratulate the Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni for the support that you always provide in that area. I'm going to suspend for now so that I'm not accused of being biased, that I come from this region as well. In Sidibeng West pass rate, it rose from 78.8 in 2014 to 82.1 in 2015, and this increase is a 3.4% increase, making the entire Sidibeng region the top performing region in Gauteng, and we want to congratulate them for this kind. We are all disappointed with one region. Because if this region indeed maintained their performance that we had last year, we would not be congratulating other provinces for the inch advantage that they got out of us. But nevertheless, I have confidence on the district director of that district, and I'm hopeful that district will come back and it will ensure that it enters the class of 80% pass mark of all other districts. The only thing that makes it painful is that this district represents a strategic center in Gauteng, which is Soweto. And therefore, Johannesburg Central is the last performance, and we commit ourselves to give them all the necessary support that they need so that they can enter the league of 80% like any other province, any other district. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all our district officials, our subject advisors, our cluster head, our IDSOs, our school principals, our SMTs in various schools for this kind of performance. And we need to ensure as Gauteng that we maintain this performance beyond here. We want to assure you, Minister, as well, that our support, the support that we've demonstrated on districts, this support is going to be duplicated in our province and will give all the relevant support that is needed in all our provinces. Good people, there is a general agreement that our success rates in maths and science are still below the levels necessary to respond satisfactorily to our skills needs. We have dealt with our planned responses in this area and will be doing more to increase the success rate in these critical subjects. The maths pass at 69% this year is commendable. While it is a 0.3% increase from 2014, the numbers are exciting because they confirm our commitment to ensure that mathematics becomes the subject that we are going to support in this province. Honorable Premier, we have taken a decision as the province, together with our principals and our subject advisors, that by 2018, 80% of all our learners in Gauteng will take pure maths and 20% will only take maths literacy. This is our commitment to ensure that we provide all the relevant support that is needed. We have also taken a decision that we are proud of, and we started this process last year, that all our children in grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 11 will write a common examination so that we can determine the capacity and the capability to respond to the challenges of maths and science. And I'm proud to announce, Minister and Honorable Premier, that in 2015, for the very, very first time in the history of our province, all our children in grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 11 wrote a common examination that is adjudicated across the province for the very, very first time. So we are laying the foundation to ensure that we don't only concentrate in grade 12, but we build the foundation at grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 11. So, Minister, if they said they didn't write Anna, they wrote Anna at grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 11 in Gauteng in terms of the common examinations. The issue of language also is a very important element, and we want to thank the Minister for introducing African languages at grade 1, and we are committed as the province to ensure that our children are given the necessary support that they need. We are also encouraged that English as a first additional language, the subject with the largest number of registration, that is 73,000 learners. And this year, 99.6% of our learners ensured that they pass this subject, and this means that we are indeed paved to have our learners understanding various languages. We are, however, pleased as well to see the number of passes in indigenous languages, especially Zulu, Northern Sotho, Sixhosa, isiNdebele. This indicates that our children are indeed affirming the importance of all our languages. We are also excited with the number of girl children that are performing very well in terms of our gateway subject. And as a province, we want to congratulate our girl children, our boy children, to say that education is the only gateway that will give them a better choice in life. There is no way that they will get better things through other things. It's only through education that they can be better. And we discourage our children to involve themselves in wrong things, especially the abuse of alcohol, the abuse of drugs, and the indulgement in sexual activities. We want to encourage all our young people to take advantage of the programs that we've introduced as the provincial government and our municipalities so that they can be in a position to get opportunities that will make Gauteng a better province. With the introduction of the TMR program by our Premier, we've modernized all our schools in Gauteng. We are proud to stand in front of you to say there is no single township school in our province that is still using a chalkboard. The chalk, the duster, and the chalkboard are history in our schools in Gauteng. We are proud that this introduction has managed to support our learners that were in grade 12s. And a disaster was looming. We had to retrain our teachers. We had to retrain all our learners. We have to remove the chalkboard. We have to remove textbooks in some instances. And the smart board in each and every classroom in our Matric classes. We basically changed the engine of a flying aeroplane while the aeroplane was on air. We are proud that of all the 38,000 bachelor passes, 17,000 of them comes from the township, which demonstrates that our investment was worth an investment. We are also proud that we are leading the country with 38,760 bachelor passes, which represent 26% of all bachelor passes in the country. This is higher than the 25% that we achieved last year. In Gauteng, just over 35.8% of learners who passed with bachelor passes have managed to ensure that they either are in the top echelons of our schools or they are coming from our township schools, making it possible for us to close the gap between the rich and the poor. We are proud as a Gauteng provincial government that there's no single school in Quintile 1. Quintile 1 is an economic categorization that represents the poorest of the poor in our province. So we are proud as the provincial government in Gauteng that there is no single school in Quintile 1 that has scored less than 50% pass rate. This confirms our commitment that the only way to break the backbone of poverty is through education. We have managed to ensure that there is no single learner in these poor areas that cannot move out of our Matric classes without a pass. We are also impressed, Minister and Honorable Premier, that 80% of all our schools have performed above between 70%. So 80% of our schools are within the 70 and 100% bandwidth of our performance, meaning that we have ensured that majority of our schools are above that 70% pass mark. We have taken a conscious decision with the Premier that as from this year in 2016, we want to up the bar and that all our schools must be above the 80% threshold so that we can be in a position to achieve the goals that we have set as a province. We are quite excited with the number of distinctions that we have achieved as well. And we want to thank those particular schools that attended the SIP program, because out of the SIP program, that targeted 70,000 grade 12 learners last year from 440 priority schools. Almost 77.9% of SIP learners, they've passed the exams. So all those schools that attended Saturday school, winter schools, and additional classes, 77% of them, they've managed to pass all the exams, which simply means that the investment that we've made in this particular program is an investment worth it. We also want to thank our partners that have ensured in the private sector that have provided additional support to some of our learners and those institutions that have also invested in our schools and provided the relevant support. We want to make these announcements to all our learners in Gauteng. Every learner that has come position 1, position 2, and position 3 in their individual schools in all our townships in Gauteng, all these learners that have occupied position 1, 2, 3, as the provincial give them a bursary for 3 years at the school, at the university of their choices. We want to harness talent, we want to support talent, and we want to close the skills gap in our province by investing in those learners that we believe they will invest back in. The Premier, in his State of the Province address, will also announce the investment that we are going to make as a province. All those learners that are moving from Gauteng to go to tertiary institutions in the next 3 years. The Premier will also announce the amount of money that we are going to invest as Gauteng to ensure that those that call for fees to fall, they must know that they've got a partner in the Gauteng provincial government. We believe our investment in education as a provincial government will also make it possible for our learners to get opportunities that they want to get as a province. We are also excited as a province that we are going to break the backbone of allocation of resources in our province. For the very, very first time, 6 of our schools, 3 pairs of our schools, they are going to share resources ranging from teachers, facilities, as well as resources that are available in these schools. As from the 1st of November 2015, Sundown High in Sentin and Alexander High in Alexander are going to be governed by one school governing body, making it possible for children from Alexander to access laboratories and library facilities in Sentin without being asked who they are and where they come from. This is a very important gesture from the provincial government and other partners of this program to ensure that our children are given the opportunities that they deserve. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Premier and members of the Executive Council for the support that they provide and the resources that they provide and the guidance that they always provide to us as a department. It was not easy, Honorable Premier, and I'm grateful that you gave us the support. You will recall this year, we lost, or our HOD moved, we lost the CFO, we lost 3 chief directors responsible for school support and other programs of the department. We even lost the spokesperson of the department as well, Premier. So for us to recover, to have a new HOD, new CFO, new DDGs, and new chief directors responsible for our programs, and still retain the position that we have occupied in the national results, indicate the support that you've provided us as the Executive Council. I want to thank the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee and members of the Portfolio Committee. I also want to thank the chairperson of the Education Committee, Professor Musona, for the guidance and the support that you always provide. I also want of the Congress of South African Students, members of the South African Democratic Teachers Unions and other teachers unions for the continued support that they provide to the department and the guidance that we have. I would be unfair to the school governing bodies that have continued to provide support and the school governing bodies that have always been there when we deal with issues that. I want to thank all the school governing bodies, but I really believe that the National Association of School Governing Bodies deserve a special mention for the commitment that they always provide. I want to thank the institutions that have believed in our ICT investment, Vodacom, MTN, and other companies that have invested their resources in this program. As a province, we believe that without your resources, we would have not made the mark that we have made. But I want to thank as well the entire leadership of the department and the new HOD. HOD reality dawned yesterday when the minister announced the results. And me and you, we know that Ampur is not enough for us in Gauteng. We don't mind to lose, but not to that province. And I'm hopeful that together we'll ensure that we will turn around the situation and ensure that Gauteng reclaim that #1 spot rather than later. I want to thank all the district directors. It was very difficult. We used to have those 7 o'clock morning meetings to analyze the situation, but I want to assure all the district directors, don't panic, you enjoy my support, and I believe we can turn the corner. There are only 4 schools in Gauteng that have not performed well, and the 4 schools at the bottom of our performance, all of them are independent schools. We've asked the HOD and the team to attend to this matter without any failure to ensure that we resolve the problems that we have. I also want to thank all our stakeholders and also thank those people that have given us the investment and the support that we have. And I want to single out the Motsepe Foundation for the resources, the guidance, and the number of investment that they've made in our schools in Gauteng. And I want, on behalf of the department and the province premier, thank Mr. Trot Mulot, who's here, that is representing the Motsepe Foundation, for all the support and the resources that they've invested in this area. I know I risk losing my job, Premier. I know that the Motsepe Foundation, they brought their Telkom trophy here that they won as Mamelodi Sundowns. And I know they've got players that they came here as well. If you don't mind, I'll ask the players from Mamelodi Sundowns to stand up so that learners can understand that we achieve at all fronts in Gauteng. This. Professor Ntute Kiswaneloe. Thanks to the team, and also thanks to the leadership of Sundowns, the leadership of Motsepe Foundation, for the support that they provide all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me. We can say whatever we want to say. Without teachers, we are nothing. These results belong to all the teachers in Gauteng. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart, and I want to say to every teacher in the province, you have made us proud. Without you, we are empty. Education is nothing without teachers. And as long as those that are doing good continue to increase, those that are doing bad will change their attitude. So I want to thank every teacher from every corner of our. Without you, we are meaningless. I also want to thank all our principals. It has been a difficult year, a painful year on issues that we needed to introduce because of our new vision as a provincial government. And I'm glad that all of you, without exception, we have embraced our new approach to education in this province. I want to thank those particular principals that have embraced our common examination program and those that have relinquished their holidays so that they can be part of training, so that when we introduce paperless classroom to grade 11 this year, all our teachers will have gone through training and they've made the resources available to all the principals. So I want to thank all the principals and thank everyone for them to give in support. But let me also thank the NGOs that have been giving us a hard time. But in Gauteng, we believe that partnership is very important. I want to thank Equal Education. I want to thank Section 27 and other NGOs that have always made it possible for us to work together. We don't want to claim to know everything in Gauteng. And some of the roles that are played by some of the NGO enhances partnership that will ensure that our children benefit. As long as it's a partnership that will ensure that our children benefit, you can count on our support as the Gauteng government. So I want to thank all those NGOs that have made it possible. And I also want to thank members of the media for their continued support and for them to provide all the relevant assistance that we need to convey our message as the provincial government. As I conclude, this year marks the 40th anniversary of June 16. We can say with confidence that the class of 1976 will be proud of the gains that we've made to establish a truly equal, equitable education system characterized by quality and performance in Gauteng. We commit ourselves to ensure that we celebrate the 40th anniversary of June 16 in Gauteng and change the landscape of education in our province. We can join hands as learners, parents, educators, administrators, and policymakers and celebrate a victory for our children and our country in the spirit of the youth who strived and died in Soweto and across the country, who taught us that education is the foundation of which we must build a just and a prosperous South Africa. I want, therefore, to send to all our learners my heartfelt congratulations. You are the builders of our future. We are very proud of you, and thank you so much for choosing to be in Gauteng. Premier, quality education will happen in our lifetime, in our province. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gents, let's hear it one more time for the MEC of Education, Mr. Banyaza Lesufi.
Thank you for that insightful speech, MEC. More importantly, thank you for investing in our youth. MEC knows my story, and he knows how personal this is for me to hear number 1, 2, and 3 out of the township schools shall be given bursaries. The hope that you are giving the families, the hope that you are giving the kids is invaluable. My mother was a domestic worker. My father was a male nurse. And without the same kind of investment, without having people who believed in them, who understood that sometimes education is the only thing you have to better your current circumstance, I wouldn't be standing on the stage today. My mother and father were fortunate and had sponsors who took them out of South Africa, because at the time the current government did not allow black people to have an education higher than grade 12. Today I'm proud to say my mother is a language practitioner in the office of the presidency with a master's degree qualification from being a domestic worker. And I'm also proud to say that my father, who was a male nurse, now has his master's in psychology, like you, young man, and travels the world representing the United Nations as a psychologist for the United Nations. It is because they demanded less from me and my sisters that I stand in front of you today. I urge you to dream, young man, young woman, and I urge you to be unapologetic about your dreams. In fact, when your dreams scare you, those are the dreams you need to chase even more, because the only deterrent to any kind of prejudice, and this is something Mom Oprah Winfrey says all the time, to safeguard yourself from any kind of prejudice, whether it's poverty, whether it's racism, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's your creed, the only deterrent is excellence. And Jay-Z, a rapper that we all love so very much, often talks about that excellence. And he says, how does a white man or white woman teach his or her son to hate me when they are in love with my excellence? And how do I teach my daughter to hate a Chris Martin? Because she can't, because of his excellence. So take today March on till tomorrow and understand that you are deemed to be excellent by virtue of being in this room. And Peziwe, with your 8 distinctions, thank you for not allowing your circumstance to be your definition. Thank you for understanding that education is not only your weapon, but is your gift to the rest of South Africa and to younger Peziwes who find themselves in your situation. They don't have a place to live. They are in a different province, but understand to achieve my greatness, to be the excellence that is bestowed upon me, I have to make the sacrifices and possibly live with my teacher. I say before I ask our Premier to come onto our stage to address us this morning, give yourselves another round of applause. You inspire us. Premier, Mr. Makura, please could you come and address us this morning? Our Premier's just said he's very proud of me for not crying this morning.
Certainly, I was worried that she's going to start crying. You know, those of you who watch her, she cries out of the slightest provocation. Thank you very much, Unati and Brampo. You know, when he pronounces this name, Mpo, anyone that you can hear, he does it with power because it's his name. Thank you very much, guys, for presiding over this. I just want to start first by saying that today belongs to our stars. We just want to do those things that need to be done by us who hold some official positions, but we look forward to our stars. Minister of Basic Education, Honorable Njimutsecha, the MEC for Education, MEC Panyaza Lesufi, MEC Mulebatsi Bupape, the executive mayors who are here from our municipalities, both the districts as well as the metros, the chairperson of our portfolio committee in the legislature, Honorable John Bisi, and the members of the committee who are attending today, leaders of political parties, which include the alliance and opposition parties who are here with us, the representatives of trade unions, the governing bodies, associations, student organizations, and civil society groups, the DG of our province, Ms. Pindile Baleni, the head of department and senior officials in our government, distinguished learners, parents, and teachers, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by welcoming you to 2016. I know you have already arrived in 2016, but welcome to 2016. Welcome yourselves. Welcome to 2016. And say 2016 has started once more with a bang, because in our province, in Gauteng, that's how we start 2016. We start it with a bang. And how do we start 2016 with a bang? And we do that with every year. We start that year with a bang. We look forward to this period when the Matric results will be announced. We don't dip our heads in shame, Minister. We don't do that. We look forward to it because we know that our youth, our young people, our learners, our teachers, the entire public education system in our province will make us proud. So in the Gauteng City region, as we start this year, we do so with a deep sense of pride. As the humble and loyal servants of the people of our province, we commend all our learners and the schools and the districts that have done well this year. We commend our education department, led by the capable MEC Panyaza Lesufi, who I still want to insist that is the best MEC for education in the Republic of South Africa. Although our colleagues in the Western Cape have pipped us from position 1 by 0.5 percentage point, we congratulate them heartily for having done so. Like a game between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, and please forgive me, Sundowns. You know, I don't mind as a Chiefs supporter to lose to Sundowns, but I can't lose to Orlando Pirates. And I know that's what Orlando Pirates supporters feel. But when they have won, they've won fairly. If as a Chiefs supporter, when Orlando Pirates has won, we say, well done, Orlando Pirates. We meet you next time. So the rivalry between us and the Western Cape is a healthy rivalry. We are rivals in everything, in every part of governance, in how to run government, how to deliver the best results. We are rivals. And we are not enemies, we are just rivals. And that competition is healthy, it keeps us awake, it keeps them awake. When we do something well, they want to know how did Gauteng get it right. When they do something well, we want to know how did they get it right. And we think, Minister, it's healthy to have this type of competition in our system of government as well. I know, mayors, you also work on that note. The fact that you are in Gauteng, we don't expect you to be behind when we look at municipalities in our country, the performance of municipalities. So that's very, very important. I want to repeat a few things for purposes of emphasis. The first one is that although we are number 2 in the country's 2015 Matric results, as it has been explained, but we in Gauteng, the first thing is that we are number 1 in the performance of the system as a whole. The MEC indicated in the top 5 districts, we have 3 districts. And in the top 10, we have 7 districts. That's a very important indicator of the performance of the system. And that's something that we in Gauteng strive for. We're striving to change the system to deliver better quality education. The second indicator of our work is how we are doing with regard to township schools. There's no number, it's incomparable between us and the Western Cape. Firstly, by size, the public education system in Gauteng is anchored principally on 70% schools come from what we used to call disadvantaged backgrounds. And these are the schools that are making us very, very proud. And we have the large number of matriculants. And the performance of our township schools are the ones that pull us up, because we do very well with the schools in the suburbs. That must continue to do well. We want those schools to do well. Make no mistake about it. We don't want them to fall when the fees fall. We want the suburban schools to continue to rise. We want the township schools to rise even faster as we do that. So in that sense, we are incomparable. The number of learners who get distinctions, which is something the MEC was announcing, you will see even with the awards. The number of learners who come from township schools, who get to do well, is how we measure the progress of post-apartheid education. How are we doing in those areas that we would have been doing very well? 30 years ago, we would have been doing very badly. 30 years ago, 1985, there was almost no schooling in the townships. Well, how are we doing 30 years later? The township schools and township learners are the stars of the public education system in Gauteng province. So that's how we're measuring ourselves. Very, very important. We're also measuring ourselves on the quality of outcomes. How many bachelors are we producing? MEC reported to you earlier, 26% of the bachelor passes is our contribution to you, Minister. This is to you. You take that, you see, add up there, others may pull you down, but we want to pull you up. That 26% is to you. The 91,000 pass that we have achieved, 91,000 learners who have passed this year is also a contribution to you, Minister. So worry about the others. Yes, we need your support, no doubt about it. Politically, we need your support. And when you intervene here, don't worry that we will always support your interventions, but spend more energy to help our counterparts in KZN and the Eastern Cape and the Limpopo to pull you up rather than pull you down. That's our contribution as well. We are doing extremely well also with the quality of education amongst the learners with disability. We are the best province in that regard. I know that statistic did not come out, MEC, as you were speaking as well. We are the best province even with regard to learners with disability, their performance in the country. So that's very, very important for us. But Gauteng province is a difficult province. And I want to warn you, those of you who are, our learners are graduating high school. Yes, in the US they call it graduating. Although in our case, you graduate only from university, the mayor of Ekurhuleni. But in the US, this is graduating. As you graduate, you are graduating in a province that has got major, major challenges. One of them is we attract every month 10,000 people move into Gauteng. So they compete with you about the positions in the education system and also at work. We are rapidly urbanizing province, so there are challenges in this regard. We currently have about 13 million people. So you have to be even better. That's why even with learners, with workers, we want to produce the best. So if you think you have made it, you have only begun, just begun. Because we also attract some of the best graduates in universities and the best learners from elsewhere in the country. All the best are coming to a province like ours. We are happy about that. But the challenge with this, with rapid urbanization, is that it puts pressure on our schools. Every year we plan for so many learners, and 10,000 more want to come, including those who come from neighboring provinces, just to receive tablets and go back immediately after they've received a tablet. That's a problem. We also have challenges with our healthcare system. The pressure in our hospitals, the pressure in our schools, the pressure in housing delivery. But we're not complaining about it. We are equal to the task. And I want to assure you we are equal to the task. We're going to be dealing with these issues with the greatest of urgency, and that's what we do. And at this point, I want to say, MEC Lesufi, that you and your team has once more made us proud. Our greatest worry this year, me as the Premier, when we introduced ICT in education, and I went to a few schools with you, I saw the excitement amongst the learners and the teachers, but I was worried. Even the most progressive change does cause disruption. I was worried that we might drop even by a percentage point as the system is adapting to the introduction of ICT. So we have held the fort, MEC. Don't worry about the game with Orlando Pirates or Kaizer Chiefs. We have held the fort. We have introduced ICT in education. The minister says we are even leading national in this regard. And this year, the system will stabilize. So we expect, we expected to improve this year, but we expect in 2016, the class of 2016 to pull us up again. But you guys have done us very well. I know this is your language, you guys. We never said you. When you tweet to each other, even the girls to each other, they say you guys. I know this is your language. You are cool, guys. You are cool. Say to your neighbor, you are cool. You are cool. Say you look cool today. Say it to your neighbor there. Because to be cool is to be clever. You are the clever ones. And in Gauteng, we do need the clever ones. We need the clever ones in schools. We also need the clever ones in workplaces, at work. We need the smart children. We are not just a smart province. We also need smart workers like you. So we are investing in you. The MEC was saying, I'll say how much. This year we are spending 280 million to help. Last year we supported 2,500 learners. This year we are spending 280 million to help those of you from number 1, 2, 3 who have done well to go to university. And my message to you when you go to university is simple, is that you have done us proud in school, but go to university and do us more proud. University is not just the same as school, guys. This is my warning. You hear me? It's not like school. By the end of the year, next year, you will be agreeing with me. You don't know now. The demands are greater and the freedom is more. And you might be free in the wrong direction. away from your studies. So it's very, very important that you go in higher education, focus on your work, because we want you, especially those of you who are doing those areas of study that our country's economic development and social development needs most. We want you back to in the system to support our transformation objectives. Education is the greatest investment that any nation can ever make. And education is the most decisive and single act of development, personal development and national development. So without education, as has been said earlier on, we will be nothing. Without education, you will be nothing. So it's for your sake, but it's also for the sake of our nation that we must invest more in education, that you must invest your time and energy in education. We are proud of the interventions, Minister, that we are doing in the system. Good results don't just come on the eve of it. From grade 1 in Gauteng province, I want to repeat a statistic that is very important. Those who started grade R in 2003 and wrote the Matric, which is you, 77% of them were not lost to the system. They graduated. And I use the word graduation deliberately. 77% of those who started grade 1 in 2003 have not been lost to the system. They have passed in our province. And that's a very important statistic because from time to time we are told that we focus only on Matric and we forget that we have lost 2/3 of the learners along the way. In Gauteng it's the other way around. Actually, MEC, by 2019, we must be achieving more than 80% of the learners who start in grade R who complete Matric. Because we don't want the story that we only have 30% of those who start in grade 1 or grade R completing Matric. So that's a very important thing to realize. And in that regard, I would like to come to the conclusion by making one more important point. One more important point. I'm very proud as the Premier of Gauteng that the district mayors and the metro mayors who are here, also are passionate about education. Mayors, you may not be having the official responsibility on education, but I know, without exception, every one of you, personally, I know it personally. Not that you have said it anyway. I know it personally. I know you know it yourselves. I know your own path of development personally, including the MEC. I know your own path of development. And I must tell them, you and I and many of them were in the student movement together. We did fees must fall long before the fees fallen. So we did that in university many years ago. But we need a leadership that's passionate about education. And the mayors who are here today are very committed. And I'm very proud, mayors, that every municipality in Gauteng has got one district in the top 10 of the country. So the 7 that we have are spread. They are found in every municipality in Gauteng. There's no single municipality that doesn't have one district in the top 10. So you make us proud, mayors. You make us very proud. But I want to return to thanking a number of people, starting with you, MEC. I want to declare here that your job is safe, MEC. In front, and it's based on merit and performance. It's not based on friendship. That MEC works, guys. The MEC works. MEC, you are giving good leadership to the department. HOD, you are new, I know, but you have been part of the system. And the reason we redeployed the other HOD is that he's going to help you sort out e-learning because Boy Ngobeni is now the head of the e-governance and ICT. He knows that education is the key leader in rolling out e-governance. So you have not lost, MEC. You have not lost. You have an ally in that department to help you roll e-governance. All the officials in GDE, the senior officials who are from the DDGs, right up to district officials and all the workers in our Gauteng Department of Education. You make us very, very proud. And give a big round of applause to GDE officials and MEC Lesotho. Secondly, I really want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank the parents. You know, there can be no child, there can be no learner without parents. And parents are the source, whether educated or not. You guys have done well because of the support of your parents. Give your parents a big round of applause. Educated or not, they've given you support when you were still in your mother's womb, they gave you support. Now look how big you are. I mean, you are big guys, man. You can see it yourself. Just look at yourself. How big. A few years ago, 10 years ago, you wouldn't think you will be so big. And we must say it's to the mothers. To the mothers, Sis Angie. To the mothers. To the mothers. This is to the mothers. I know we say parents, but it's mainly to the mothers. It's to the mothers. I want to thank the teachers. What will I be? I couldn't stand in front of you if it was not my primary school teacher and my secondary school teacher. You see, when you were talking, Unati, when you were talking, and almost crying now, it's MEC, you couldn't stand here with the confidence you have if it wasn't for your teacher. So this one is to the teachers. The teaching is the foundation of all careers and all professions. You can have no doctor without a teacher. You can't have a scientist without a teacher. You can have no pilot without a teacher. The people who often make the greatest impact in your life, so it's your parents and your teachers. The rest is history. So let's give a big round of applause to our teachers. I also want to join the MEC in commending civil society groups and our trade unions. And I'm saying here, qualified, the civil society groups and trade unions that are working with us to ensure there's progress to the benefit of the people of our province. Let's give them a big round of applause. The trade unions and civil society groups. We need your partnerships. We can't succeed on our own. And we also need your criticism, by the way. We need you to draw our attention to where we are not doing enough. Without that, we will not be the best province that we want to be. We need critical civil society. We need you when we get out of the way for you to say, this is the way. But let's do it in a way that is most constructive in order to move our province forward. Because you know, Gauteng must always be the best in everything. We must be the best in governing this province. We must provide good governance. We must provide clean government. We must provide responsive government. We must provide the type of government that's activist out there on all the time, solving problems, interacting with people. There should be no single citizen in our province who does not feel the government, who has to go out and bend down schools and clinics because the government is not coming to the ground. And you can see we have a very active MEC. MEC is everywhere. I don't think there's a school that says we only see the MEC on TV. The principals, you have met with the MEC a few times. And I want on this note to say, we also have activist principals, MEC. The percentage will grow. There are a few who are not as activists. So this one is to the principals. A big round of applause to our principals. A big round of applause. Because we want responsive principals as well. We want activist principals. We want to run clean government in our schools. No corruption amongst SGBs. Ramulefo, member Ramulefo, you and the MEC always fight about this. So corruption is something we must ban from every part of our province. We want a corruption-free province. If there's corruption in SGBs, MEC, we will deal with them. If there's an SGB that knows it is corrupt, we are on your way. On our way to you, we are on your case. Because corruption is something we must get rid out of our system in this province. On that note, I want to salute, lastly, all the learners who have made us proud. Lastly and most importantly, I think let's give a big round of applause, and I request a standing ovation to these children. Not you. You sit down. We are doing that standing ovation for you guys. Thank you very much. So guys, you are very important. You got a standing ovation today. You must never forget this. If you do something in life to disappoint the people who gave you a standing ovation today, just remember that. We are watching where you're going in life. It's not over with us. So you have not gotten rid of us. We are following everything you are going to be doing in life. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Makura. Thank you so much, Premier Makura. I'm trying to steal your shine, Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for the Premier of Gauteng, Mr. David Makura. See, to the Premier, when I grow up, I want to be like you guys. And you know, it's when you're up here and you learn how to speak, guys, it's about tactic. I admire what MEC did when he said, you know, the youth of 76 would have been proud of the youth. He didn't say we would have been proud of you. And you know, to the Premier and the MEC, you guys mentioned being part of Fees Must Fall before it even came, you know. And what I found most people did during that time is they compared the youth of 76 to the youth of 2015. And yes, it was the same fight, give or take, but there were certain things that were different, that couldn't be the same. If you listen to the struggle songs of 76, they were completely different to the struggle songs of 2015. Because in 76, they were singing, Senzeni na, iyo, Senzeni na. For those of you who don't understand, what have we done, iyo? What have we done? What have we done? What have we done? But as I was watching the protests last year, I could see some of the students going, I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. So it's a different time, ladies and gents. Ladies and gentlemen, educators, educatees, overachievers, you guys. You know, you were saying it was because of our teachers that we learned how to come and speak. But it was by force. Because you'd be in class playing, Paul, come and read, yo. In front of the class, you must come, tuck in your shirt. One day, Paul, once upon a time, once upon a time. And we thank you for that, teachers. We thank you. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be standing up here today, so we thank you. Ladies and gents, it gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce your next speaker. A beautiful lady, ladies and gentlemen. A wonderful lady. A lady who is the Minister of Basic Education. Ladies and gents, please put your hands together and help me welcome on stage Ms. Angie Mutsecha. Hello, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mpo. I said you must be careful. Somebody got into trouble by calling somebody baby. So it's safe to say meh, and then you are safe. You won't go to the equality court. So program director, really, it isn't my
intention to give a speech, but let me acknowledge the protocol that has already been established by the MEC and also the Premier. Acknowledge the Premier and the entire executive of Gauteng, the mayors present here, leaders of the sector, your teacher unions that are here. Also acknowledge the presence of your school governing bodies which are here, our learner organizations, but more important, our learners. Thank you very much, and let's really give you this special day and respect, but also thank the parents. It's not easy raising children, is it not so? The mayor of the West Rand showed me some messages from young people. They're busy sending messages, Mama, I made it. All of them are saying, so I'm sure you're also very proud and you want to go home and celebrate and look at these distinctions. But I must say, Premier, I'm extremely excited. I have no intention of giving a speech, but to really thank Gauteng in particular, not because it's a home province, perhaps it is, but for all the points that you've raised with us, just leading and pulling not only the Gauteng, but the sector. Because when Gauteng pulls, everybody pulls. When Western Cape pulls, the whole sector pulls. And there's a number of things which I can raise also about how Gauteng has even helped the sector, because we're not educating children of Gauteng, we're educating children of the nation. And on many instances, Gauteng has led in a very big way, and I'm really proud to say, and Palana, people who don't know, you know, it's an idiom in Sotho saying the wisdom of a big buck is in the small one, because you can see lions from far and say, let's stand here, there are the enemies coming forward. So the young ones in Gauteng are really making us run, but they're also showing the direction nationally. On many fronts, Premier, not only in the ICTs. For instance, when we had difficulties interpreting and understanding what was happening with grade 9 results, it was Gauteng which profiled and gave us information which helped us also to remedy the system, because they themselves went to conduct research. So they have data-driven programs. It's not a surprise that it's not only that in the top 20 of districts, half come from Gauteng nationally. And for us, it's a good indicator. And I can share with you, every quarter I meet district directors. And these directors here, I can see most of them, are a resource also nationally. Because they provide information that we're able to use as a sector, but other provinces also use. Move forward. They bring with them tools of analysis which we're able to use as a sector, which helps us to pull the sector forward. So any success in Gauteng for us is a success nationally, because it helps the nation to move on. Because you're quite right that in terms of quality indicators, because that's where we want to move to. You're quite right that Gauteng gave us more bachelor degree passes, but even in terms of supporting progress learners, which is a big risk we took, most MECs were very unhappy about it. I knew that it could cost me my job, because what happened if results could have gone at 50? I mean, really, I was going to have to run myself and not expect to be to be told to run. I would have had to do the honorable thing, really, if it went beyond, because it's a risk we took. It's a risk we took. I hear analysis to say we bolstered numbers to have, it's actually a big risk. If we're opportunistic, Premier, we could have said, this is election year, no trouble, no nonsense, don't take to grade 12 any child who doesn't stand to pass, because I want an 80% pass. But we felt what is important is learners, not ourselves as politicians, not the image of our party, and that no, dear, you will be chasing that. Okay. a se le tshwere ke tsa lona tla di jika dintho tse le di beya ka tsela ya lona e re ntho e le straight e le clear gore e so le ha e so hantle, this is risky. We could have done it otherwise, but we felt that our kids are very important. Therefore, let's push the numbers and take the risk. And I think it's paid. Gauteng, for instance, a premier. Of the progress learners, 47.4% of them passed. 47. It's almost half of them passed. And these will be learners who will not have written this year. I keep on saying it. And most of them, it's kids who will have said, mntanam, dala sinawe bantu, awuthi udede, ulo batla sa go ipatolosa. Just go and find something else to keep you busy. Rona re paletswe mo. Because that's what we normally have to do, because if you fail, what do we do? You can't fail more than 3 times and still hope that you'll pass the 4th time. We just have to agree with you to say, go and try somewhere. But we didn't really give up on them. We said, hey, let's push even further. And I agree with the MEC when you thank the teachers and principals, because they really had to run. I visit schools in my area. The principal of one school in my area even had to take them Ababeko Karachia High and run a boarding school, because at home there are distractions. She was doing from her own pocket, and this person is an ordinary school teacher. She had to buy sponges, get them to stay there. And you can imagine staying with teenagers, that there's also games that you have to manage in the process, because these are growing people. So as you look at books, you have to look at everything else and make sure that things are going well. So I'm really proud of the Gauteng province, but I'm standing here to... The world is opening before you. You've demonstrated that you are the best of the best in the country. So which means you expect more. It's pressure. We didn't make it. That's what you did on your own, to prove that with the many learners we registered this year, you still remain the best of the best. We're very proud of you. We really look forward to greater things from you. But to parents, you've really made us proud, because these are not only your children, these are the children of the nation. That's why even as government, we feel we should support the province, and I'm very grateful that there is support from the province, that these are our future leaders. They have to run our economy, they have to promote democracy, they have to promote the values and the principles that we've been teaching them at schools. And to parents, we say we're very grateful to them. That Elsuf is right. We can say all we say. I can say I'm happy about the results. I didn't even teach one subject. It's the teachers who did all the slog work. Even when journalists want to blame teachers, I'm saying, why should I blame them for the 30%? Why don't I thank teachers for the 70%? Because this 70% comes from the hands of teachers. We're from Ivory Park, MEC. It's a no-fee school, which means mahala, hala, hala. Free books, no fees. One of the learners, a very young girl, 7 distinctions. We're proud of that. Because indeed we want all South African children from all racial groups, from all social backgrounds, to get equal opportunities for quality education. And we're very encouraged, because in the analysis that we did, it's beginning to show that we're closing the gap between the performance of learners coming from affluent communities and learners coming from poor communities, because it's been a big struggle to lift of problems and social ills that are in that area. And with you, I'm very grateful to our mayors. Mayors of Gauteng are really something else. They don't say education is not their mandate. When I speak to Comrade Modi talking about schools, he really knows what I'm talking about. I speak to say hi to my nephew, Kosienzo. When we talk about education, we are agreeing. And same with now, I was even saying I want to go and open in your district, but now I'm being controlled by Keraki Getsets Maki. Because these mayors in Gauteng, we are right, Premier, do their bit. But as I said, for me, to our young learners, to our young people, we're very proud of you. We're very grateful of the achievements. You represent many other learners who've made it under very difficult conditions. You've outdone us. Because we said yesterday, year after year, we're increasing the cognitive demands of papers. And some of you, whether we increase or pull hard, you get full marks. Whether we mix maths this way or the other way, you get full marks. And we're very proud and very encouraged, and you give us great hope. And to parents, please continue supporting them. This is a gem of the nation. These are the best that we have, and we look forward to greater things from yourselves. But Natali Sufi, thank you very much. Premier, so palana and for that we're very grateful and we're humbled by his great contributions to the sector. Indeed, he's making not only an impact in Gauteng, but nationally. Zazwakala izigi zakhe ukuthi ufikile umkoni kuyazwakala nationally, and for that siyabonga.
Ladies and gentlemen, students, let's hear it one more time for our Minister of Basic Education, Mama Angie Mocheka.
We have one musical item that we want to offer you before we get into the reason why we're here to hand out all the incredible awards for these overachievers that have made us so proud. We'd like to welcome the GDE choir onto stage to give us one item, and then we get to the official part of the program, which is honoring the incredible schools with regards to the best bachelor passes. GDE choir, if you can come onto stage, please. Honoring the best performances in terms of lawyers, learners as well. We're going to take the award ceremony and announce from third position, second position to first position. We request that only the first position winners come up onto the stage to receive their certificates. They shall be awarded with either a certificate or a trophy from the MEC. And we'd also like you to stand, don't be shy, take a picture, pose, because this moment shall be documented forever.
Forever.
And ever.
And smile, guys. No pouting, no... Smile.
Selfie, Nyana.
So of course there's going to be selfies.
Oh,
I'm taking selfies.
Can we? Are we keeping it casual?
Yes. Of course, yes.
Ladies
and gentlemen, back from the recent international tour. Ladies and gentlemen, the GDE choir have been performing all over the world. In places like East London,
Paris.
Ladies and gents, without further ado, and the smallest piano I've ever seen, ladies and gents, please put your hands together for the GDE choir. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going for the GDE choir. MEC, you didn't tell us you have your own song. How? I only remember one song from school. Bana basikolo, tlang sikolo, utratsipiyal, ding dong belele, ding dong belele.
Translation.
Children of the school. Children of the school. Come to the school. Come to the school. Listen to the bell. Listen to the bell. Ding dong tell. Which bell was ding dong? We grew up rough. You guys have it good. You guys have it very good.
It's okay. Just a reminder, only the first positions to please come up onto stage. We request that you not be too shy and stand for that moment to take a picture as well. MEC, I don't know if I'm being fair or not, but I was telling your team, please could I have the reading today? Because somehow, you know, we make the great migration from the Eastern Cape and we cross the rivers and the valleys and we somehow call ourselves Joburgers because we've been here for more than 10 years. So I would just like to brag tomorrow morning on how well we are doing as a province and how we are going to get our first position back. Please, let me see. But should I get into trouble and should I be faced with a possibly imminent a firing of some sorts? Our Premier and our Minister, you speak on our behalf and you just say, no, she was just proud. She was just proud.
I did not cross rivers. I'm from here. Born and bred.
Oh, Mirale. May we do it?
Let's go into it.
We'd like to ask our mayors to please come up, the mayors that represent the different districts, to please come up on stage to assist us and sit on our chairs here to assist us in giving out the awards. City of Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, West Rand District Municipality, Sedibeng District Municipality, and of course,
The City of Joburg.
MEC would also like you to come up onto the stage, please, as we are now about to begin with the official part of today, the special awards.
MEC, shoes are very shiny this morning. Have a seat, guys. So have a seat. Have a seat.
Yes, schools with the most bachelor passes.
And in third place, we have Hoërskool Waterkloof, Tshwane South District.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep the applause going for second place, Hoërskool Garsfontein, Tshwane South District.
And ladies and gentlemen, in first place, please put your hands together for Hoërskool Menlo Park, Tshwane South District.
It's very competitive on the stage. Let me see if you can move forward.
Gents, our cameraman doesn't have a zoom. Yeah, he's using a very old camera. I think he's the Daily Sun guy.
Can we have a representative from Hoërskool Menlo Park, Tshwane? But if the school is not here, can we have a representative from the South District Municipality, please? If the district is not here, Mayor, can you do us the good deed?
Oh, we've got a representative. We've got a representative. Please come up, Mama. Gentlemen, please make way for Mama there, over there. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. You are coming on stage. You look so beautiful today. This outfit was planned. If they call
but it's very competitive.